Hello and welcome to Dash 28 Live. I'm your host, Mike Atkins, and today we are bringing you a special event. We have the first round matchups and lists from the upcoming Pilgrimage GT happening this weekend in what I'm told is always sunny, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We have Bart Kohler here, who's the TO for the event, and we have Greg Person and Mike Austin here to help us review the lists and make some expert predictions as best we can on who we think is going to win.
Emphasis on the expert.
Emphasis on expert. This is all in good fun. We do these things to kind of hype up the event and get everybody ready and interested. Please, no one take anything personally if we say we do or don't like your list or we think you're going to get stomped. Once again, this is
Mike
all
will not
good
like your
natured.
list.
Mike is guaranteed to not like the list. This is all just good-natured ribbing to get everyone in the right fun frame of mind for the event. So before we get into the list, though, Bart, you are a first-time TO.
Yes.
This is your first time running. This is the first time this GT has been run. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Pilgrimage GT and what you guys are doing to make it a special event?
Yeah, so I've been in the scene since I guess 2016. So once we organized in Philly with Battle Pilgrims and Marcelo and his club, we decided that hey, let's run a tournament, and we decided to keep it small, so 45 players, it's fine. We decided to hey, let's put some interesting terrain placement rules in. That's sure, let's do that. Let's play test a scoring system for the event. Fine, no big deal. And then I'll just layer in a Mid-Atlantic Club Championship as well, just to really keep it simple for us for this weekend. So, yeah, we're just going to start very simple and very small and get this thing going. No, we're pretty
Bart,
excited.
is the club challenge limited to Mid-Atlantic? Because the Northeast guys were talking about this the other night. So we are not eligible.
So first of all, you had 4 players. So yeah, so I guess I'll talk about this now. So what the idea with the club championship? It's going to be a Stanley Cup-esque championship that will be fought over by clubs to have the top 4 players in each club vie for that, and then you take the trophy with you until the next event. So you can take pictures with it, go camping with it, whatever you need to do. Eat some cereal out of the top bowl. It's up to you. I expect to have some great pictures taken.
Creative. Yeah.
Right. So the idea, you can baptize a child, a very small puppy in there, maybe. The idea was to keep it in the region because we want to see it again. If we gave it to the, let's say Unplugged came down and won it, it would, how would that work for future events? So it was meant to start off as a Mid-Atlantic. I did actually buy a engraved plaque with the Unplugged Gamers on it in case you did win it, but
you're poking holes in my lie. I told my club members because there are currently 3 Unplugged Gamers registered,
and then one of them dropped.
They were harassing me.
Who was that?
Yeah, that was me. But I told them it was because Alex and Jake bribed me because they were worried about us coming and winning the club challenge.
Yeah,
so that's where they were wrong in the first place. There should be no concern about anybody in the Northeast winning it. There would be no problem.
Yes. So that's the club. It sort of came up as an idea that we decided to do, and I just ran with it. So I thought that it would be best that we fight over Mid-Atlantic tournaments because as we go to the next tournaments in the Mid-Atlantic, as clubs are there, we're going to fight over it, and we're going to keep etching our names on this trophy as we go. So
love it.
Cool. I will say this though: if any of the visiting Unplugged gamers would like to be honorary aristocrats for the weekend, we're happy to have them.
One of them has to officially swear oath and fealty, though, because we need majority club members. Anyway, so
how many beers are we allowed to feed them before we convince them to do this?
Yeah, that's strictly up to you. If you want to drink out of the cup, no, you can't touch the cup until you win it.
Ooh,
so that's the rules. Yeah.
All right. So, way to come out swinging, man.
That's right. Going small.
That sounds
all
awesome.
the while with a TO that doesn't know the rules himself. Nice.
That's right.
That's right. Rules are for rookies.
Kings of War is such a clean game. The TO does not need to know the rules. It just plays
itself. They don't do much. So
out of like 45 players, we've got 23 armies represented. as you would expect in the Mid-Atlantic, there's a lot of undead and a lot of ogres. But a pretty good spread of everything else, I think.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the spread of armies. It was very interesting. Some of them are very interesting, so as we'll get through it, we'll talk about it. But I was happy with the spread, with the usual suspects at the top.
Yeah, and nobody decided to take the plunge and try halflings, it looks like.
Yeah, that was all you, Greg. Where's that at?
Peyton's the halfling player, not me.
Oh shit, that's right.
I've still never played
confused you
against the
two.
halfling list. If someone brought it to a GT, it would throw me for a loop because I would not know what anything is or does.
Yeah. What else are we missing here? We don't have a Kingdoms of Men.
No Forces of Abyss.
No Forces of the Abyss, which is weird because they were pretty
Surprise,
popular.
Yeah.
Well, John, Vanasse, and Alex are the Forces of the Abyss player. They've switched, so.
Yep.
Right. Well, and Steve Forster had been playing Forces of the Abyss, and he switched.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
So there's your three. That's their fault.
I think if I can make it a kind of a summation of this whole entire tournament as a whole, there's so much anti-shooting and so many lists that people didn't bring because they're expecting the Matt Griffin treatment. And like that Abyssal army, especially Alex's, which was also pretty much Steve Force's into Vanasse's, that 18 range shooting with speed 5 move gets
no
worked.
good. Yeah.
It gets worked. It's the hard counter. So everybody just realizes we're not doing it. And I can attest to Alex. There's a reason he's playing fucking Night Stalkers.
Right. Well, I'm happy that my slow no shooting defense undead gets to just reap the benefits of the meta hating on shooting instead of me having to actually deal with it every game.
There you go.
All right, so let's go ahead and start getting into it here. So the round one scenario is going to be control, and we're doing blackjack scoring, and this is the terrain map. What's up, Mark? Where's the rest of the terrain?
It's very open terrain. So
and they bring the shooting.
Only I know.
So in this tournament, we're going to have terrain placement rules. So each round is going to have a set obstacle and blocking terrain. For control, I put these at the corners of each of those sectors there so that you're not going to be able to just slip into one or the other. You're going to have to really decide. So each round, before the game starts, you're going to roll off and place a forest, a hill, and a difficult terrain. You can place it. One player can put one piece of terrain in a deployment zone. So if you want a hill in a deployment zone, that's strictly up to you. You have to roll off for sides afterwards, though, so you may not get it. But the terrain has to remain 6 inches from center and 3 inches from other terrain. So it's going to get spread out relatively evenly, I think. But there's definitely going to be some thought to where do I want to approach the scenario? What side do I want to attack? If I'm a Pathfinder, where do I put my woods? If there's a hill, can I put a wood in front of it? So there's going to be a lot of options for players to really think about, as a general, making the battlefield fit your army.
Okay.
If
you said 3 inches from terrain and 6 inches from center. What about the table edge? Does it also have to be a certain distance from table edge?
No, table edge is fine.
Okay.
You can be right up to the edge.
Yeah, just to clarify, the placement here of the buildings and the obstacles, that's just for round one. So
this is just round
two,
one.
They will be in a set area, but it'll be different.
Different, correct.
Okay.
This one is symmetrical just because of the scenario, but it gets less symmetrical as the different scenarios come up.
Fair enough.
Right.
So I think that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, when you and your opponent walk up, look at each other's armies, shake hands, and put all the terrain up against the board edges on the either side, and just go at each other, like that'll be cool. You didn't have any shooting? Me neither. Fuck all this. Just get it out of the way. Let's.
Yeah, and the reason why I placed the buildings and the obstacles is because I didn't want the U.S. Masters placement terrain where you just have a big pile in the middle.
I have to attest, very, very short anecdote. I played against Josh Rosado's Ratkin, and he had like 5 boards, and we had 4 impassables on that table. He could not move the entire game.
Mike, I can tell you that even though Rosado is not listening to this right now, somewhere in Cape Cod, he just shivered and like had an eye twitch. Like he's never going to get over that.
So one thing I will say, I spent a great deal of time on the terrain. It's all relatively the same size, so you're not going to have this, massive hill on one table and small hills on another. It's going to be relatively the same size. So.
Nice,
awesome.
I still like.
All right.
Okay.
Without further ado, let us get to the first matchup. Now, the first few matchups are going to be challenges, so we know what's coming.
First 4.
But But here we go. Table 1 is going to be the duel of the former U.S. Masters, right? Keith Conroy versus Alex Chavez.
Well, current.
Keith's got
current US.
Or current, I guess that's right. Keith is still current.
Current versus washed up.
Current versus I'm not going to call him that. So yeah, Keith is bringing Herd, and Alex is, as Mike was saying, switched over to Night Stalkers. They're pretty even on drops and unit strength. Keith's list looks pretty similar to the list he took to the U.S. Masters. I don't know if he's got anything different in there at all, but it's that nice mixture of speed and Spirit Walkers and maneuverability that's tough to deal with. And Alex has a list that looks familiar to me. I don't think I've seen him play Night Stalkers before, but I feel like I've seen this kind of build of Night Stalkers with like some Butchers and some Soul Flayers and some Shadow Hulks that can be pretty tough to get through. That can be pretty grindy and got a lot of crushing strength. And a decent amount of like wind blast so they can push around the field and prevent double charges and things like that. So what do you guys think? Let's go to Greg first.
So I can say, Keith being a regular opponent of mine, the big changes to his list post Clash are the Horn of Great Migration and Wings with a Great Chieftain. So that guy has an aura of +1 wild charge, which makes his fast alpha striking list even faster. Right, so now he's a 21-inch charge on his flying units. And he also added in the Scorchwings Horde for more flying and a little bit of shooting support. What I like about his list, not only is it super quick, it's got nimble pretty much across the board, and it's very difficult to prevent it from getting around behind your flanks into your rear unless you've got like a surge heavy army, which Alex doesn't have in this case. On Alex's side, I like his list, a very resilient Night Stalker army. But as Mike alluded to, like this is an army that's worried about shooting. It's got Spell Ward in there. It's got Stealthy across the board, and those things will not help it at all against Keith, minus the Scorchwings Horde shooting, which we're never really going to do much anyway. Maybe waver Needlefang Regiment or, soften something up before they go in. So I think this is going to be a tough match for Alex just based on who brought what to the table.
All right, Mike.
Well, considering the army is mine physically of the Night Stalkers, I made 12 of the 14 drops. I think Keith is going to win. So, I mean, what can you say? Alex is going to play it for the first time tomorrow. I think it's a good list. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I do.
That's definitely a good list.
But that's a tough matchup for him. I'm not gonna lie. The only thing I could say is that extra drop can prove valuable. There's not many times you see a herd army that's getting out dropped. It's a very elite herd army.
Yes.
There's really not much chaff in there, which could be problematic. I will say the Night Stalker list, it's fast. It's actually, it doesn't have speed 21, but it's got a lot of fast units in there.
For sure.
It's not, I don't think it's an auto win, but I think that practice makes perfect, and Alex has 0 practice. So I'm taking Keith.
He might be able to do something with the terrain, though. There's no shooting, so I don't really see a lot of requirements for hills. So he might be able to block up the middle for his advance, maybe. Block some line of sight.
I don't think I ever pick Alex over anybody other than Alex, but I will say Alex, when it comes to terrain, from the Warhammer days in the past, he was just the most obnoxious person when it came to terrain. And anything you give him an ounce of control, he takes every single bit of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Alex wins, but I have to shit talk. So.
All right. We're down to 30 seconds on our time. So, right. And as long as Moon Pie dies, I don't really care. I want Moon Pie to die.
All right. So that's Mike and Greg both going for Keith. Bart, do you have a vote?
I could deploy Keith's army right now because I played it so many times. I'm going to go with Keith, I think.
You're going to go with Keith. All right. I am going to dissent and go for my teammate Alex. Just so there's no clean sweeps. Why not? All right. So there you go. There's table 1. 3 out of 4 people on this cast agree that Keith is probably going to win this one. I'm going to dissent for the sake of dissenting and move on to table 2. Marcelo versus Dale. So this is going to be a Brother Mark versus Dwarf list. Again, pretty close in drops and unit strength. Marcelo's list is, as you would expect, a lot of cavalry. He's got 4 good cavalry hammers there and some Ogre Palace Guard. That is also nothing to sneeze at in melee. Over on the dwarf side, he's got the Royal Guard formation. I don't know if you guys have played against that, but dwarves with elite are serious in combat.
Yeah,
and he's got the standard 2 Berserker Brock Rider regiments with the standard loadout of Pathfinder and Helm of the Drunken Ram there, and some Earth Elemental hordes. I think it's a pretty good dwarf list that's going to give people a lot of trouble. It's got some hard hitting elements, and it's pretty resilient as well. So, what do you guys think? Let's start with Mike this time, since we started with Greg last time.
Gladly. So I actually got a chance to play Dale at Crossroads. Good player, tough list. The problem he's going to have is the same problem he had against me. I think we played Control as well, and it is not fast. It's very slow. And when you're having to pivot, you're not going fucking anywhere. So maybe he's learned to play it a little bit better for the scenario since I played him, but he's going to have a very tough time trying to get over the board in the scenario like Control. Versus Brother Mark, the exact opposite. Obviously, Marcelo is a very good player. Tons of unit strength coming out of a Brother Mark army. I don't want to say I like the dwarf list, but it's a tough list. But I think Marcelo is going to get the win there, mainly because of the scenario. Any other scenario might not be the case, but I'll take Marcelo.
I think both of these armies maybe do things that you don't quite expect given the army list, right? Like dwarfs, I usually am imagining a solid shooting or ranged attack component. This dwarf list doesn't have that, but it is a nice balance of, hammers and anvils, and that ironclad horde with hammer measured force can do a lot of work. The Brother Mark army, on the other hand, you're like, well, it's a bunch of knights and stuff. Like, it's got to hit hard, but it actually grinds really well. Those Order of the Abyssal Hunt regiments have Crushing Strength 1. They have Vicious. He's got Bane Chant in there. I think the Brother Mark, I agree with Mike. I think it has an advantage because it can pick its fights. And even if it doesn't cleave through something in one go, it's going to be able to finish it off on the second try.
All right. So it sounds like you're going for Marcelo as well.
Yep.
All right. Bart, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I remember at Crossroads Dale, I think he had 4 Brock Rider regiments, so I don't think he had the formation wasn't out yet. But I played against dwarves a lot with that formation. Having melee 3 and that kind of unit strength, it is tough to get through. So if Marcelo tries to take that head on, he might get surprised by the
What's the
staying
surprise
power.
of a speed 4?
Because you might think because it's a dwarven horde, you're like, oh, it's a dwarven horde, I don't care.
No.
But then it comes back and it hits you on a 3 and gets in forwards. I'm telling you,
it's a Palace Guard horde. I get it, but it's a
they're
speed
sneaky
4
fast.
Palace Guard horde. They're not sneaky. They're speed 4.
I'm kidding. It was a joke. Jeez, Mike.
They're not halflings. Fuck out of here.
Anyway,
I mean, I guess the Brother Mark, the Paladin Monster Slayer Horde and the Order of the Abyssal Hunt regiments are good against large things, right? That's kind of their shtick. So I guess they have some Earth Elemental hordes that they can want to target, but that's still only 2 hordes, and he's got a lot of other tough units. So
There's
the large
Paladin
beasts as
monsters
well.
are still really good.
The Lord on Large Beast, too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
That's true.
We're out of time.
Okay,
So
we don't
we're going to
need
pick.
We don't need to.
So what do you think, Bart?
I'm going to go with Marcelo because I played this army a lot, so I know what it can do.
That sounds reasonable. Then I'm going to vote for Dale because, once again, I don't like clean sweeps. I feel like somebody should descend in all of these. So, Dale, I'm with you, man. You can do it. Just grind him out.
Maybe you should pick first, and then one of us will descend.
Yeah.
We'll feel bad for somebody instead of you.
Crazy talk. All right. Mike Rossi versus Steve Forster. Greg. Hold on. I guess I should summarize the list first. So, of course, Mike Rossi's playing dwarves. Mike Rossi's, of course, playing dwarves, and Steve's, of course, switched over to goblins. Has 4 more drops than Mike Rossi, but even on unit strength, Mike's list features a whole lot of dogs throwing dogs and dudes throwing dogs. And Steve's list, like you would expect to see in any goblin list, has a bunch of rabble and then a bunch of stuff that shoots. He's got war trombones and wingets, bangets, but he's also got a bunch of flea bag riders in the formation that I haven't seen work before. So it'll be interesting to see what that does. And he's got a lot of I'm sure. It's sort of the theme of the list. Things go boom.
Blast.
He needs more boom in this list.
So what do you guys think about this?
I'm just gonna jump in here and say, Mike Rossi, you have done it, my friend. You have made the most perfect list you could ever make in your entire life. You are unstoppable. You are a god. Congratulations.
How much does this cost him?
A blowjob.
Well, all right then.
I'm giving it. He's receiving
time to reveal that I gave Rossi list building advice on this.
So me and Alex talked to this. This is what I said. I was expecting Mike Rossi going, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go ahead and bring all defense 6. I'm just gonna bring masters. I'm gonna bring shooting. You know, fuck these shooting armies. I don't want to deal with it. Just raging out, and this is it. This is Mike's best effort, and he didn't even do it on his own. Thank you, Greg. And that said, Steve's probably gonna win. I'm not picking yet. You guys pick. I love Mike's list.
I've played this goblin list. I played a similar list. I know what it can do, but with all those dogs and all that low nerve goblin, he can pick up a couple things early, and then you sort of need everything to work together to really make this thing work. The formation has the TC2, which is the kind of the nice thing of it, but every time they get a 6, they take a wound. I mean, it just by the time the game is in the 3rd or 4th round, everything has so many wounds on it that if you just look at it funny, it's gonna fall apart. So, I don't know. If I had to pick, I'll pick Rossi on this one because I just don't think that the goblins are gonna hold up.
So a couple of points on this. Steve's goblin list is excellent, and it really can go off on you. There's a lot of high volume of attacks, a lot of piercing 1. He's got 3 individuals that could benefit from Host Shadow Beast
that hit on 4s.
But they can do some work. I think the biggest thing that Rossi has as an advantage isn't just high defense, but he also has aura of Iron Resolve, and he has Radiance of Life.
Yes.
So the goblins kind of do plink damage to the defense 6 stuff, and plink damage is what the dwarf list can absorb. And then it also has the best shooting units the dwarfs can bring: 4 troops of sharpshooters, Gallic's Fury, and then 8 throwing mastiffs. So I think it is going to be a lot of trading units back and forth, but I think the dwarves are more resilient where they're going to come out on top of that. And there's a high volume of attacks from the goblin, but not high enough quality in terms of, armor penetration to get through.
Yeah, I mean, even if you get a good Host Shadow Beast roll, you're still rolling 4. So, I mean, and then you got to. I've played this, so I know that it can be very hit or miss. So our time is up.
I want to point out that of Steve's 20 drops, 3 of them have like a 19, 20, 21, 22 nerve. 17 have like a 14 or less.
Oh yeah,
with defense.
Yeah,
Mastiffs are going to be the key to this game.
And even Iron Guards can kill those things in melee. They hit on 3s with 12 attacks.
Yeah, so all it takes is just a blink of an eye, and those units are going to start dissipating. The problem with that Goblin army is it needs every.
Pretty sure I said that, Mike.
I don't listen to you. You should know that by now.
That's fair.
It's I don't know.
So you're going for dwarves as well?
No, you pick. Let's see if I needed the dissenter.
Yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing: is I was gonna go dwarves because I thought everybody was gonna pick goblins, but now it looks like everybody's picked dwarves.
Well, I can tell you that Rossi is not picking dwarves. He is expecting to lose this match.
He expects to lose every game.
Every match. He does.
Good reason.
I can't bring myself to vote in favor of goblins, so even I got to say Rossi on this one.
Wow.
Man.
Wow. Sorry,
Steve, you're my boy. You got it. I'm picking Steve. He's going to pull it off.
Nice.
Here's what's going to happen: is it's in Mike Rossi's head already. He's going to lose. He's going to do some stupid shit. He's going to give up. Turn 2, he's going to think it's over and start pushing things forward because he doesn't care. And I'm giving him the ticket to winning is don't do that because he's done that against me. He's like, I have no chance. I'm just going to move forward. Then he gets flanked out the ass and loses. So I'm going to predict he does that again. I'm going Steve. There we go.
All right.
There it is.
That's three for the dwarves and 1 for the goblins. So let's move on now to table 4. I think this is our last challenge, and this is Unplugged Radio host versus Unplugged Radio host. We have Jake Cherpika versus John Vanasse. This is, of course, going to be Undead versus Elves. This is Jake's 12-drop, 21-unit strength list versus John's 14-drop, 29-unit strength list. Jake's list looks pretty similar to what he took to Crossroads and won with. He's got his triple mummy regiment. He's got Flying Vampire Lord on Dragon. He's got a Cursed Pharaoh with wings. He's got Werewolves and Whites and Soul Reavers and like all the things that you just don't want to see in an Undead list. And then popping over to John, he's got a couple of Glade Stalker regiments. He's got a Sea Guard regiment. He's got a couple of Sea Guard regiments. He's got Drakons. He's got a Lord on Drakons. He's got some Lightning Bolts. He's got Silver Breeze Cavalry. He took the upgrade to Quicksilver Lancers. So also kind of everything that you don't want to see across the table in Elves. So this is a pretty classic matchup, army-wise, I think. Who'd we go with? Who'd we start with last time?
I interrupted and went first last time.
Nice.
Okay. So Greg.
So I've thought about this matchup a lot. I've talked to both Jake and John. Here's the thing with John's army, right? 29 unit strength on an elf army. You're not expecting that. That is an 8 unit strength advantage in control, which is pretty significant. He's got a great shooting phase. And you think Undead, they can weather that storm. But Jake doesn't have heal in his list, which I think is a mistake. And he adamantly says, no, Veil of Shadows is better or equivalent. And I adamantly disagree. So I think the first couple turns are going to put a lot of damage on a couple of units. And then John will be able to kill them. And Jake will have a very tough time clawing back from that then very significant unit strength disadvantage in control. I think Jake's army works great when people have to engage it in the front, but John's army doesn't have to do that. So I'm going John on this. And again, I've now voted in favor of 2 of the hosts on Unplugged Radio, and both of them disagree with me about them winning the game. So,
all right, Mike.
Jake's just riding his win. Thinks he's unstoppable. Honestly, the biggest difference to me is 14 drops versus 12. Having a horde of Dracon Riders that you can drop after literally somebody's entire army, regardless of who drops first, huge factor. That's the factor to me. The rest of it's kind of hit or miss. I think it's a little too much shooting. I think why waste 2 regiments on Sea Guard when you can take more Glade Stalkers? We can go.
It's the fluff factor. I love it.
Yeah, I remember my dragon-themed elf army too, where I had dragons and dragon breaths and stuff too. No, it's not.
But you didn't have Sea Guard.
I mean, there's considerable number of flying units in Jake's army that would be -1 to hit if he charges in, and then they get stuck.
Yeah, I'm still picking John. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying. I'm picking John.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'll never pick Jake ever.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, we know Mike is not going to pick Jake, so I almost don't want to ask him. But yeah, they're pointing out that John and it's elves, so your cards are going to pick elves. That John can deploy his Lord on Drakon and Drakon Riders exactly where he wants after Jake has put down his whole army. I feel like puts him in a pretty bad deployment advantage. Bart, what do you think?
John told me he did not do well at the Dead of Winter, so I don't know that I don't know how much he's played this list. There's a lot of nuance to playing elves, even though I know Keith Randall's on the thing. He has a different opinion, I'm sure. But I'm going to pick Jake on this one. I just think if he can withstand some of that initial shooting, he's got enough speed there to close the distance. He's got some flying. You got the vampire. He's got the wings on the honey maze. So I think he can pick and choose where he can shut these things down and sort of move into position. And I think killing those mummies are going to be tough. So I'm going to go with Jake.
All right. I'm also, I think, going to go with Jake because I don't want to vote for elves. And if Jake deploys the terrain correctly, John can shoot Sir, but if he gives him nothing but mummies to shoot at and mummies have regen, the fact that he doesn't have heal might not matter. So I'm gonna vote in favor of Undead, which is maybe me being a little bit of a homer, but
John, play kill for the first 5 turns and then win on the 6th.
That's how you play. Fly the Lord on Drakon into Jake's center and take it. And there you go.
Play scenario with your 20 on unit strength. Yeah.
All right. First non-challenge match. We have table 5. We have Matt Griffin versus Chris Pelletier. Matt is sticking with his Sylvan King, which he just won Nerdhammer with, versus Chris's Undead. This is another of the 6 Undead lists we've got. Matt's list, again, is very elite, 12 drop, 22 unit strength, featuring, the Wilt Daddy and the Tree Herder combo, and a whole bunch of Glade Stalkers, 2 troops, 3 regiments, and then some Interceptor Cavalry and an Interceptor King. Over on the Undead side, we're looking at 15 drops, 23 unit strength. And it's a pretty well-balanced list. He brought 3 catapults to have some counter battery shooting. He's got some mummies, and he's got some revenants. And he's got double Lich Kings, which is an awful lot of points to spend on characters. But we'll see if that can pay off, and if those Balefires can actually hit anything before the Wild Father's in its face. So what do you guys think? I think we started with Greg last time, so Mike.
Sorry, Chris, you're going to get rocked. Matt beat me, and I don't like him because of that. Chris, your army's slow, man. It's going to be wide open board, probably. Matt's army wrecks shit. So I'm picking Matt. There you go.
That's insightful, Mike. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's deep
Sorry,
insight.
I'm right.
Yeah. Well, I did. Did Chris play this army at Crossroads? Was it Night Stalkers at that time?
He's played Night Stalkers.
Yeah. So he's played Undead quite a lot, and I know Matt's played this list. So I think they both know their lists quite well. So, but yeah, I don't know that he's got the. I don't know.
That does it for me. Like I like Chris's Undead list a lot, and he is a good player. I'm not going to take that away from him. There are some, a lot of characters, but he's got 2 White Hordes and Surge 26. So there's, it can do stuff. But the problem is he doesn't have high nerve, and that shooting is eventually going to pull stuff down. It's all on 17s or 18s to pull off, and that's a little dangerous when you're looking at this Sylvankin list. On his Balefire catapults, stealthy on the units you want to shoot is not a great look, and the other pieces can be in terrain. So I think the Sylvankin are going to win this one.
All right, 2 votes for the Elves. What do you think, Bart?
I'm going to go with Matt. I think Matt's played this so much that he knows what he needs to do, and I think it's going to come down to the terrain. If they're able to somehow figure something out that he can that Chris can utilize, I think that would go a long way. But I think Matt's got this one.
All right, well, that is 3 from Matt. So I'm going to vote for Chris because once again I'll vote for Undead over Elves. I have beaten the Sylvankin list. I've beaten the Sylvankin list with an Undead army, although that was before Cock 22 came out. So don't know whether that's going to make it that much harder or not. But I'll vote for the underdog and also avoid a clean sweep there and go for Chris. You can do it, buddy. Railgun those whites into the flank of the Wolf Father. Turn 2. Do it. It'll be awesome. And then take a victory lap.
That would be beautiful.
Balefire takes it off in turn 1.
In turn 1, shoot it off, and then just take a victory lap, take the moral victory, and walk out. It doesn't matter.
Run around, slap high fives. Yeah,
that's right. All right, so let's move on now to table 6. We have Ben Vining versus Derrick Sandstrom. I don't know a lot of these guys.
You're going to find that there's a lot of new folks at this. So as we go through this, as I think I talked about at the beginning, we just got organized a little bit more in South Philly. So there's been a lot of groups in the South Philly, South Jersey area that are going to be coming out to this tournament, which I think is a great thing. But I don't know. I don't know them personally, so who knows?
Okay, cool. Oh, so he's not a battle pilgrim?
Ben is. Derrick is not.
Ben is, right. Okay. All right, guys.
Derrick apparently is from Texas.
Is he dojo?
He's dojo. Sure.
That dojo. Wrong dojo. Sorry.
Wrong dojo.
There's a
rival dojos.
The non-Texas dojo. Yeah, so
Rossi is technically from a dojo too.
technically. So this is going to be Salamanders versus Herd. We had 13 drops on the Salamander side versus 12 on the Herd side, so pretty close, but 25 US on the Salamanders to only 21 on the Herd. On the Salamanders, you got triple Ancients troops, spreading that, inspiring all over the place. Double Tyrant hordes like you'd like to see. Rhinosaur Cav horde, a Greater Fire Elemental with that Wild Charge aura. Mounted Clan Lord with the Axe of the Giant Slayer. All cool stuff. Over on the Herd side, it's a whole bunch of Forest Shamblers, a Wilt Father, and 2 Tree Herders. So
Forest of Nature with some Harpies.
Yes, Forest of Nature with Harpies. Like the terrain is literally going to stand up and walk across the table in this one, and he's got an Earth Elemental horde. So just lots and lots and lots of high defense, hard to kill monsters over on that side. So let's check it out, and let's ask Bart what he thinks first.
So Ben is a student of the game. He is he's a pilot, so he can show up at any tournament in any part of the country, and he tends to do so. So he's very eager about the game. I don't know how much he knows this list. I think he's been playing it for a little while. I don't know if he's been playing recently, but
he was playing Undead last time I saw him, I thought.
Yeah. The concern I have about the Herd list is that's great. There's a lot of Forest Shamblers. I know that there's a lot of Surge opportunities, but a lot of it hits on 4s. And I don't know. You got these big hordes, these Tyrant hordes, these Ancient troops. I mean, I don't know that they're going to do enough work for him. So I'm going to actually pick Ben on this one. I'm going to go with the home team.
All right.
Yeah, a couple thoughts about this. So the Herd list, I just played at a GT with Force of Nature, and his army is basically Force of Nature. That Gladewalker Druid setup with the Shroud of the Saint, Surge 8, Ring of Harmony is very good.
Yep.
And very efficient. One thing you're going to hear me say a couple times tonight, because a couple people have brought a whole lot of them, is that Forest Shambler hordes are garbage. Even when you boost them with whatever things you're boosting them with, they're just not good. And so I think that's going to be the struggle, right? I think there's a natural inclination. While I'm bringing the Wilt Father, I'm bringing the Tree Herders, I want Forest Shamblers, but I think that's a trap, and it's not going to do him well. The Salamander list I like a lot. The only question I have about it, I'm not sure I love the Greater Fire Elemental, just because there's no Surge in there, so he's walking along 6 inches at a turn, and might get left behind by some of these other pieces, but...
Okay. So you going Salamanders then?
I'm going Salamanders, yeah.
You're going Salamanders. All right. Mike.
All right. I think both lists are terrible. Sorry. But, the Herd army just doesn't do any damage. Tree Herders are cute. They're resistant, but you just don't have any offense. Forest Shambler hordes suck. I took 2 a while ago thinking I was going to win games out the ass, and they do nothing. There's just no damage on that side of the table. Other side of the table, you did the best you can with Salamanders. Don't get me wrong. Salamander list still sucks even in Cock 22. That's just the end of the story. You want to see it? Who turns out winning this tournament? It's not going to be Salamanders.
Bringing that positivity, Mike. That's it. I love it.
Yeah, I literally have Optimus tattooed on me for good sarcasm. Salamanders are just fighting up at all times. I think they're going to win this one, so I'm going to pick Ben as well. But
the one thing that I think Ben might have against him is he might not see some of those surges coming. So if he gets surged in some of these flanks,
it's always a thing.
He might get surprised.
Yeah. So I've been wrong once before.
Have you?
So that is 3 votes for Ben. So then I'll dissent and say Derrick. Derrick's going to take this one with Forces of Nature plus Harpies, because Harpies are awesome, and I like Harpies. So there you go.
Don't get it wrong. It is 32 Surge, because the Gladewalker can do it twice. He just can't do the same target. So conceivably, you could Surge 24. But that's a lot of points sitting there and casting Surge instead of doing something else.
Well, you also need to have a caster here.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, you did that in the last one, the Undead. So you have 26 Surge. How the fuck are you using 26 Surge in one turn with 3 casters? Unless they're scattered about getting charged the following turn. It's not as good. things fall off, right? There are some math skills, math terminology you guys can put in here, exponential gains or something. You know,
We're playing control round one. I'm picturing at the end of the game that the Harpies troops scatter to take corners, and the tree herders turn and get surged exactly where they need to be to get a 1 point scenario win. So that's why I'm going for
very nice.
I
like it. Great detail.
Easy.
There you go. Yep. There you go. Just keep all those units alive until the end. That's all you got to do. All right, table 7 is Charles Fadouk versus Chester Dudek. So this is going to be an Ogre versus Night Stalker list with both 13 drops and almost the same amount of unit strength, just 22 on the Ogre side versus 21 on the Night Stalker side. The Ogre list for Chuck is going to look very familiar. Got a lot in common with a lot of the other Ogre lists that we're going to see. Again, there's 6 Ogre lists in this tournament. We got a couple of Red Goblin Scout troops for some speed and some chaff. Triple Siegebreaker hordes with some waiver mitigation. The Crocodile Wrangler for dealing with other characters. The Big Deal, and then the Ogre version of the Duracell. That's the double Warlocks with Nom Nom, Drain Lifing and Lightning Bolting everything. And then over on the Night Stalker side, it looks like such a short list. But triple Butcher hordes, double Mind Screeches. Yeah, a lot of two-fords. Double Void Lurker for some speed. The Planar Apparition, a couple Soulflare Regiments for some Wind and Blast, and a Dread Fiend for trying to sneak into a flank someplace. All right, what do we think? Let's start with Mike this time.
All right, so apparently Charles Fadouk is part of my club now, so I'm going to pick him regardless. But
cool.
This is where I'm going to make my first gripe about these fucking boomer chariots that for some reason they decide to get stealthy. These giant fucking ogres on chariots are somehow hiding their entire army.
Listen, it's the guns are producing a lot of smoke.
So much smoke.
You know?
You just can't
so
see or
smoke.
hear. Fuck anybody that takes these things. So I'm still picking Dudek, but I'll throw this out there to Chester. Dudek is just the most Broham last name I've ever heard in the world. I like his list. I really do. I think it's fun. It cuts to the chase. I helped Alex put together that Night Stalker list. I think it's a cool list, but I'll check the box on the guy that's my club mate today or this weekend or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, he's a local guy. He lives down here in town with me, so we drafted him for this event since none of the rest of his clubs come.
I was supporting.
Yeah.
So I think Charles sat down to write an ogre list, and he started with 3 Siegebreaker hordes, gave them the best items you can give them: Stang Stone, Chalice of Wrath, and Dwarven Ale, so that they just keep punching. And then literally every other unit is like, I'm here to support these Siegebreakers to do their thing. And so it's going to do that very well, and it will have some tough matchups, but I don't think this Night Stalker list is it. So I think the ogres are gonna do some work in this game.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I like this Night Stalker. When I create my list, it's 2 Phantoms, it's 2 Butchers, it's 2 Mind Screeches. I get the Planner, I get the 2 Soul Flares, and then I mix the rest. Right? I don't really like Void Lickers because I suck at dragons. Well, I suck at a lot of things, but dragons particularly. So I like the list. Yes. Well, we all know. I like the list. It's just got to work together. There's a lot of things that have to happen for this thing to work out on these Siegebreakers. So if he tries to take it head on, he's going to lose. But he's got enough that Soul Flares are great. The Void Lickers could be great. Yeah. So I'm going to pick Chester on this one. I'm going to go against the grain, but I think Charles has been playing this for a little while, but I'm going to go with Chester.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking Chester because I would definitely like to vote for Charles because he's in my club. I play with him all the time. I've practiced with him playing this ogre list several times, so I know that he's got a pretty good feel for it. And he's also in my club for the weekend, so all my easy biases say I should vote for Charles, so that's what I'm going to do. So that's 3 for Charles and 1 for Chester. They're on table 7, which will bring us to table 8, which is come on. This is the marquee matchup, y'all. This is Corey Walliser versus Joey Greek. This could be the top table in the final round.
When this came up on the randomizers, I was like, ooh, okay.
Ooh. So if we were streaming games from this tournament, this would be a pretty good candidate for people to watch. So Corey is bringing Varinger, 14 drops, 24 unit strength. Over on Joey's side, he's got Ratkin, which has 1 fewer drop and 2 less unit strength than Varinger, which seems really weird to me. I had to check it a couple times.
It's a focus rat list.
To make sure it wasn't a typo. Anyway, so over on Corey's side, he's got a little bit of all the stuff that you want to see out of a Varangur list. He's got some fallen regiments. He's got some snow trolls. He's got some mounted suns with Guys of the Deceiver, which I think gives them stealthy, maybe?
Stealthy, yeah.
Yeah. He's got snow foxes. He's got a flying lord. He's got a Thane on Frostfang and a lord on Frostfang. Nice, fast, hard-hitting Varangur, just exactly what you want to see in a Varangur list. Over on the Ratkin side, he's got shock troops, regiments, and a horde. He's got just one claw shot troop. He's got a couple of nightmare hordes, Tangle, Mother Kryza, and he's got that smoke mirrors and death formation with the double shredders and the death engine spewer, which I saw him play with on a stream game, which just throws out a lot of shots. I don't know what to think about this one. I know what to think about the matchup. I don't know what to think about Joey's list, I guess I should say. Let's pop over to let's start with Greg this time.
So Joey's list. I had to look up a lot of these rules because there's a lot of living legends, the formation. Basically, his army has got a lot of deployment tricks. I mean, the scrying gem makes the Varangur have to drop extra, and then the smoke and mirrors and death, he can redeploy those units at the end, which is cute, but I don't know that it's going to have that much of an impact on the game. And I think Corey's list is more just straightforward. I run up and smash you, and then I smash you some more, and then maybe I'll continue smashing you. And Joey's got some unit choices in here that I just don't think are the most effective. Kudos to Joey. He did just finish painting this army to get it ready, and he was telling me he doesn't like to paint armies that include more than 30 miniatures total. So Ratkin was maybe not the right choice, but yeah, I think Corey's going to run up and smash.
All right. Bart.
So has Joey played this list a lot? I know he's obviously Night Stalker through and through for the last 4 years, but has he played this list a lot? I know that Corey's played the Varangur quite a bit, so I don't know. I'm going to go with experience on this one. I think Corey might just run him over, but I really don't know. I think this is going to be a great matchup. I would love to watch this one. I don't know enough about Joey's experience with this. I mean, obviously he's a good player, but is he experienced enough with this to fend off what's coming?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's played at least variations of this list on UB. I'm not sure how much in-person playing he's done with it. But so that sounds like you're leaning towards Corey, Bart?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Corey.
All right. And Mike.
Joey's a very good theory hammer guy. I'll give him that. He has a plan, and he sticks to it, and he does a good job of it. And he's a sneaky get. Ratkin are appropriate for him. If they had sneaky gets from the old Chaos Dwarf 5th edition, that would be his army. Corey's list has some awkward things. Fallen Regiments, not a huge fan. Night Raiders, not a fan. One Draugr Regiment, not a fan. There's just not a lot of oomph to the list. It's one less drop, but I do think the Scrum Gem plus the Smoke and Mirrors is enough to give him a little bit of an edge. I'll take Joey.
All right. There you go, folks. Note the date and time. Mike went for Joey for possibly the first time ever. I'm also going to go for Joey just because I think this Ratkin list is sneaky. And I think Joey's going to be able to guess what Corey's plan is and set up some traps for him. And Corey's list kind of just does the one thing, so he might not have any option but to try to bust through it. I'm gonna go for Joey. Why not?
Hey,
2 and 2. I think.
Cheers to the fancy colored cups, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
Got it.
Yeah, it's going around. Cool. All right, so let's move on to the next table. This is looky here. This is me versus somebody I don't know, Joseph. This is awesome. So I get to play somebody I don't know for the first round. That's great. I love it. So I'm bringing Undead because for some reason I still haven't painted another army, even though I was locked in my house for 2 years.
I find that amazing.
That really surprised me. It really
what
surprised
the hell is my problem? Well, so here's the thing, right? Like I had on my hobby bucket list that I wanted to podium at the Masters for army appearance, and I did that at the New York one in February. So like after I came in second there, I was like, I don't feel like I need to paint anything ever again. I'm done. I've checked the box. I'm retired. And I haven't really. And then we couldn't go play in person anywhere. So I was like, well, why paint new stuff if I can't actually take anywhere and play? And I just haven't gotten back around to painting yet. But I will. Like, I'm only going to play Undead for a couple more tournaments. I know what I'm doing next. We'll get to it. But yeah, I'm
winning a painting prize at King's of War is more important than retiring at 38 after working for Facebook.
Let's focus on the important. Focus on the important shit.
So aren't you the one that has like a 4-door sports coupe that says "For the Family" as a license plate?
I do.
That's what I thought. Okay,
is that a problem?
Nope. Just saying. Priorities.
The ironic part is it has 444 horsepower too.
Hey, you got to get to where you got to get to daycare fast, man.
Wherever. My boy knows. He goes, "We're driving Daddy's fast car." Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
All right, so this is going to be Undead versus Trident Realms, and we got a pretty similar number of drops and a pretty similar amount of unit strength coming about average for what we're seeing this tournament. I've got my Revenant Horde with Life Leech 3. I've got my Soul Reavers and my Whites to be hammers, and I've got my Zombie Trolls and Gore Blight with the Necromancer with the aura that gives them Vicious, and a pretty good amount of heal, and then Vampire Lord to just throw at things that I don't want to have to worry about for a couple of turns. Over on the Trident Realms side, we got a pretty decent balanced Trident Realms list, I think. He's got the Hidden Ones formation with Thule that just looks super nasty in the formation. Ector, like you always see. A couple of Knuckers. Some Tidal Swarm Wedgerments for Chaff. A whole Ensnare Horde. For Control, I feel like this is actually a pretty good Trident Realm list that I think I'm going to have a lot of trouble with, actually. Greg.
I agree. No, I'm going to start this one, Mike. Yeah, only because you and I played at Nerdhammer, and it was my Trident Realms. I had a different makeup, but I like Undead as Trident Realms only because of the Ensnare, and you're hitting with a lot of the 4s, so you can really spin some combats back around if you can get a good Ensnare roll. Barkskin is going to do a lot of work. Barkskinning a Tidal Swarm is the funnest thing ever. Brewer Sharp, that's a lot of points on those Thule, but if they hit, they're going to hit hard. The thing is it's just they're so the whole army is so squishy, but you don't have any shooting really to deal with to deal with the damage. Right. So I like the Trident Realms in this, so I'm not going to pick them because you and I played. I'm going to pick. No, screw it. I'm picking Trident Realms. I'm going with Joe.
Go for it.
Can I call you Joe, Joseph? I don't know you personally.
Greg.
Yeah, I think Bart picked up on the key ingredients here. There's a ton of Ensnare in this Trident Realm list. Barkskin is nasty in Trident Realms. And what this list really doesn't want to see is shooting, which is not what Mike has brought to the table. So I think it's going to be an uphill battle, and Trident Realm are going to have the edge in this one. Coincidentally, I want to know what miniature you're using for that Gore Blight, Mike.
I am actually using the Mantic one.
What? I was hoping you were going to tell me it was a gorilla, a pink gorilla with a gun on.
Oh, shit. You know what? I should. I totally should take that and sub it in for a couple of games. Thank you for reminding me. Now that I look over, it's sitting right there. I should totally pack
my pleasure. So if anyone just a very brief side note, the context of this, I once was in one of these first round matchup casts with John and Jake, and we had a little bet. Whoever lost, the other people were going to paint a model, and you had to play with it at a GT. And it was something special that you'll see if you go to Pilgrimage. And then when I organized the last matchup cast we had for Harvest of Souls, I also gifted that out to whoever had the lowest accuracy on their predictions, and that was Mike. So hopefully he will play with it this coming weekend and then pass it on to the next lucky recipient.
To whoever gets the most wrong here tonight, which hopefully
and
is not me.
It was painted by John and Jake and Jess. So
wow,
a lot of love and care.
Jake's the worst out of them.
It has traveled many miles,
I will pack it and bring it with me and use it for at least one day. I will not put it on my display board for paint judging, though. That would be unfair. I wouldn't want you guys to bring up my score with a model that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike.
Exactly.
Yep.
Mike,
obviously, I'm picking the Madkins here.
All right.
Teammate and all that, but I don't know Joseph fair enough to know his knowledge of playing. I think his army's good for Trident Realms. It's got some bad matchups, but it's got some really good matchups. I think yours is kind of a neutral matchup, but I think you know your list so well for obvious reasons. I don't know if he does or not, so I'm picking you, Mike Atkins.
I appreciate it because I'm not sure that I'm going to win this one because I think this is a shit matchup for me because I want to kill things in combat, and ensnare really screws me up. I've got a ton of crushing strength that isn't really going to matter because he's got low defense stuff. Yeah. That's not where he's put his points, and like everything in his army is faster than me. Like I'm not going to get to pick any charges. I'm going to have to counterpunch for all I'm worth. So if I'm sneaky and set up some good like flank surgy kind of counter punches and take out a good amount of his unit strength when he's trying to come at me, I might be able to pull this one out, but like it's going to be super tough.
Are you going to pick him?
No, I'm still gonna vote for myself because it would be defeatist. It would be defeatist of me not to pick myself, but that
would be something Mike Rossi would do.
That'd be something Mike Rossi would do, but like this is a super bad matchup for me. This is not something that I want to see because again I got nothing to shoot at him with. That's what he doesn't want to see. He wants me to hit him and not hit him a whole bunch, and I want to hit him really hard. And yeah, it's gonna be tough. So maybe I can eke out a scenario win here with that wonderful magical purple ape with a gun mounted to his arm model that I'm gonna surge into a table corner for a 1 point scenario win at the end of the game.
Okay. There it is.
There it is. So table 10, we got Chris Murphy versus Joe Borghese. This is a Basilean versus Undead, another one of the Undead lists. Is this our only Basilean list, I think?
Yep, I think so.
I believe so.
I think there's only one.
Very elite 11 drop, 21 unit strength Basilean list versus a 14 drop, 21 unit strength Undead list. So coming in pretty average there in line with the rest of the field. Chris's Basilean list, you got double Ogre Palace Guard, double Elohi Horde, and some Knights, some Girl Panthers, Samachris, Anuri Elohi, and Julius. That is a pretty solid and fairly common, I think, Basilean makeup with all the characters and everything like that. Over on Joe's side, he's got triple Soul Reaver infantry, which will just ruin your day if they can get to you. He's got a White Horde, some Rev Cav troops for chaff, some Wraith troops for chaff, some zombie regiments for holding objectives, and then some characters for surging things around. So it's a pretty nasty Undead list if used well. Let's start with, who did we start with last time? Was it Bart? I think we started with last time.
I jumped in. Yep.
Yeah. So let's go to Mike.
Yep. So I played both these guys at Crossroads, crushed them both. No big deal. Don't care who wins. No, the Elohi list, the Basilean list has 3 trash troops, and it's still just 11 drops. So it's really 8 drops. But Chris knows what he's doing with it. It is much tougher than you think. Joe, I mean, that's obviously a scary Undead list. Honestly, I think Joe's Surge is really the only swinging piece of it, swinging factor. The extra drops plus the Surge. He doesn't care about the troops. It's not small enough army to get flanked out the ass, which would be the big concern, and he's not a bad player, so it's not going to happen. So I'm going Joe. There we go.
All right.
I think when you start to make some comparisons between these two lists, the key factor is the chaff. And like the 3 troops of Gur Panthers are great, but the 2 troops of Wraiths and the 3 Revenant Cav troops are better. And that's going to enable the Undead to get the charges that they want, even though they're not as fast as the Ogre list, or as the Basilean list, I mean. So I think that's really going to cause some problems for Chris. And even though he's my teammate, I'm going to have to vote Joe on this one.
All right. That's 2 votes for Joe. Bart, what do you think?
So the only thing that I'm concerned about Joe is he's been very busy with life things and hasn't been playing a lot of late, but he plays this list a lot. So he knows the list. I'm concerned about whether he's rusty and whether he'll time out, honestly. And Chris has played this. Did he take this to Masters? I forget. I think he had this. I can't remember.
Well, he took a somewhat similar list to Masters and a somewhat similar list to Dead of Winter, but he has not played at all aside from those 2 GTs.
So it's a similar situation, right?
Yeah.
I want to pick Joe. I mean, he's my club mate, and I think I'm going to have to. I'm going to pick Joe. I'm going to stay within the team. Pick Joe,
I mean,
but I get concerned about the time.
the cup as
Yeah,
you
what's the
started talking
couple
about the matchup. So come on, like
because there's 30 people watching, they haven't seen the Mid-Atlantic Cup that we're fighting for the club. So I just wanted to give it some love.
Yeah, without context, people thought you were just crazy trying to show off some shitty trophy you got.
from your bowling league.
Yeah. Or George O'Connell made himself a trophy.
All right, I'm gonna continue voting, operating under the assumption that Bart is going to let us count the unplugged gamers as official aristocrats for the weekend, and I'm gonna vote for Chris.
I don't know, Mike. Oh, we're out of time. Can't comment.
We're gonna put up a poll later. You guys can vote for whether we're called the unpluggedocrats or the aristoplugged gamers. One or the other. We'll get shirts made and everything.
I just wanted to be very clear. I can be bought. So
Good to know.
All right. Next up on table 11, we got Brad Winslow versus John Helbig. This is going to be a Northern Alliance versus Brother Mark. Both at 14 drops and 24 unit strength. Even Steven across the board there. Brad's list, I'm not sure I've seen him play Northern Alliance before.
I don't either.
He has it
This
all.
might be new. Yeah, he does have it all.
How tall is
So
it,
we'll
though?
see. Right. Like how has Brad – I love Brad's armies because he always goes so big on everything. So I'm excited to see what this looks like. So it's 4 Huskar regiments is like the main battle line here, and that is nasty. He's got some Ice Can Hunter troops for some shooting, some Snow Fox regiments for – his regiments, they're a little less like chaff and a little more like flankers, and double Frostfang cavalry hordes. That's going to put out some hurt.
I bet you he's got a mountain that they're actually climbing on that he's going to use as a measure.
Could be. Over on the Brother Mark side, okay, so this is kind of interesting. He's got a couple of Spearman horde. He's got a Bowman horde. He's got 2 Ogre Palace Guard hordes. And he's got an Oathsworn Guardians regiment. And then he's got 1 Order of the Abyssal Hunt regiment. Is this a Brother Mark list that only has 1 cavalry unit?
Sure, it looks that way. Yep.
What?
Their cav sucks, man. Who cares?
Ogre Palace Guard are just better.
I mean, yeah.
So
He's got
this
those
is
2 little bastards, though. Those hunters are
Yeah.
Good.
right, but he's got Order of the Lone Wolf on them. Doesn't that put them on foot?
It does.
Oh, there
Right.
you go.
What? I don't understand.
Dude,
Isn't this just a
Subverting
Basilean
your
list?
expectations.
This is a Basilean list with some Brother Mark allies brought in. Anyway, Greg, what do you think?
So I want to give some props to Brad here because he only has 2 heroes and they're very low points heroes. So when I listen to some other folks complain about the onset of Hero Hammer, Brad has chosen to ignore that. I like the Brother Mark army in this matchup. I think it's an interesting combined arms list, and I think some of those choices are going to help him. Huskarls can certainly chew stuff up, but the Frostfangs will have trouble if the Spearmen get in the way. He does have the ability to put out quite a lot of damage with some of these charges, and if he gets a couple lucky shots with those siege artillery, he might, really put Brad on the back foot. So I'm going to go with Brother Mark on this.
All right.
I'm also going to go with Brother Mark. I think Brad's going to get tired of moving his troops around because they're going to be so heavy and tall, whatever they are, that the speed of those little hunters are such a pain in the ass as well. I don't know that they're going to take out anything on Brad's side by himself, but it could slow some things down that allows him to get some of these other pieces in play. So I'm going to go with John.
I'll take my boy Brad. Brad makes some of the most entertaining armies, some of the scariest armies.
I mean, it's best when you can't see him across the table because his army is blocking him totally, and he's not a short person either.
Sometimes Brad forgets the stats of his own army. But I love Brad dearly, so I'm picking Brad. Have fun. I don't know, John. John, if you're a good player and know what you're up against, you got.
Well, the chat has told us that this will be John's only sober game of the weekend, so that might
is that
either
good or
give him
bad,
an
though?
advantage or a disadvantage.
Is that good or bad?
John just became my friend, actually.
If he's used to playing drunk, then the sober game is his off one.
I'll stick with Brad.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna also go with Brad just on principle of like it's a Brother Marklitz. It's only got one cavalry regiment. I just I can't get past it. I'm stuck on it. Sorry, I might be wrong, but what the hell? All right, table 12. Anthony Fasano versus Alex Forsyth. This is an Order of the Green Lady versus Ogre. One of those 6 Ogre lists. Order of the Green Lady is coming in at 12 drops and 25 unit strength, and this might be the high water mark unit strength list, I think. 15 drops and 33 unit strength over on the Ogre side. So this is a really interesting matchup because over on the Order of the Green Lady side, we have just hammers for days. Like he's got the Order of the Brotherhood Regiment with their special banner for Pathfinder. He's got 3 Order of Redemption regiments. He's got 2 Order of Forsaken Hordes, which are their like almost Dracons, flying cav. He's got 2 Beasts of Nature and a couple of Pegasi, whatever. Just to chaff up like the one thing that he doesn't want to charge on turn 2 while his army's charging everything else. So that's like a lot of speed and a lot of hitting power. And then on the other side, there's 3 Red Goblin Rabble legions and 6
I love it so much.
6 warrior regiments and a warrior legion with Pathfinder. And then just like
that's a lot of unit strength.
Presumably just to like block charges. Like, what do you even need the characters for at that point? But he's got a warlock with Celestial Restoration, a couple of Sarge with. I think everybody that took sergeants took that heavy crossbow, and then a Berserker Bully, which is actually a really good character I like, and Nom Nom. So like a bunch of knights are going to run across the field and just smack into like walls of nerve, and I don't know if they are actually like. You would think, looking at this Order of the Green Lady list, like it brought enough gun to blow away anything else. But then you look at the Ogre list and go, well, maybe not. So, like,
he'll get through that outer layer, but then will he be able to withstand what comes after it?
Right.
Exactly.
He'll blow right through the 6 warrior regiments.
Yeah,
and, like
those
chaff
are
up,
dead.
chaff up the legions with the Pegasus for one turn, and then charge them all again. I don't know. Mike, what do you think?
So entertaining, this Ogre army. I love it. For anybody that doesn't know, those Goblin Rabbles, defense for 25-27.
Yep.
They're just a fucking stone wall.
The only thing that would make them better is if they were sharp sticks. Especially in
that'd be pretty fucking annoying. But they're good. I mean, but defense 4, those would be defense 3 presumably, right? But there's just so much shit to get through, and even though it's shit, those Goblin Rabbles come back and do 3 wounds, 4 wounds. They start peppering things down. Those regiments just aren't going to survive the wave that comes behind it. I think I would say Anthony's list is good. I think it's a solid list. It's there's nothing wrong with it, but it's a tough matchup. I don't know Alex, but I respect his list building here. It's fun. It's comical. The Celestial Restoration is a little questionable, but overall it's fine. I'm going with the Ogres just for funsies at the very least.
So I'm interested to see how Anthony plays this, because if he uses those Beasts of Nature and just goes around behind these things, I'm curious to see what Alex will do. I mean, he's got the bully maybe, and some of these sergeants maybe can pick these things off. But if Anthony goes straight forward, he'll lose just on strength alone. So he's going to be very crafty with this. I think he probably wants to go full forward. But I'm going to pick Anthony on this one. But I'm not sure. But I'm gonna go with Anthony.
Okay. And Mike, you were leaning towards Alex, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going Alex.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other, I think, complicating factor here for Anthony is he only has one inspiring source, and he's gonna.
No, there's redemption. All inspire.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Never mind.
They inspire and regenerate.
Yeah.
Okay. So inspiring won't be an issue, but I think to Mike's point describing the list, Alex has an 8-point unit strength advantage. He's just got a lot of stuff that this Order of the Green Lady army has to chew through, and I think eventually, I mean, if that Warrior Legion touches something, it's going to die, and it will probably get a couple hits in before the game is over.
Yeah, he can't get to it with that much shit in front of it.
Exactly.
Again, I don't know.
Yeah.
Alex might be terrible and just go front of the line, deploy with nothing in front of it. Then I'm a fucking idiot, but I hope not.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing to get a charge on that for like 5 turns. You know, that thing should just go and then smash shit. You know, turn 4, turn 5. So.
All right, Greg. So you're going for Alex?
I'm going for Alex. Yeah.
Going for the ogres. Okay. I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna vote for Alex as well, just because I think that like, even though I'm working on an Order of the Green Lady army and I really like Anthony's list, I think that's too much stuff for him to chew through in a table control scenario. I think he's gonna have to trade too many units that score. Like, all of his units score except for that druid. So like every Pegasus that he sends over and every beast of nature he's got to sacrifice to protect one of his cav regiments is a scoring unit off the table, and all those warrior individuals that scores, well, individual characters can just pop around at the end of the game and pick up sectors that the Order of the Green Lady just doesn't have units to put in because it's only got 12 drops. So I think I got to go for the ogres. I'm gonna go with Alex. All right, so let's move on then to table Lucky 13. Jordan Boland versus Ray Wyatt. So this is the Forces of Nature versus Undead. This is another one of our 6 Undead lists for the tournament. Both coming in at 14 drops, but the Undead has a 10 unit strength advantage here. 21 versus 31. Because all right, look, Ray, I love you. Seriously, straight up, I fucking love that this is your style of doing Undead lists now. Just bring all the fucking zombies.
But this isn't the only one that looks at. There's another one that looks.
But it's not the only one. Right? It's catching. The zombie apocalypse is spreading. Is the takeaway here? But so yeah, let's talk through them real quick. Once again, over Forces of Nature side, we've got 4 Forest Shambler hordes, making that solid center of the army. He's got the Wiltfather and Kapoka. He's got a couple of Flying Beasts of Nature, kitted out like you expect them to. And here's another one of those Gladewalker Druids with Surge and Ring of Harmony. And then over on the Undead side, he's got the Shambling Blight formation, which brings 2 Zombie Legions and a Gore Blight. And then he's also got 4 more Zombie Legions and another Gore Blight. And then, some other stuff that doesn't really matter because he's got 6 legions of zombies.
None of it matters. That's the whole point.
Right. You're going to spend all game trying to get rid of Zombie Legions and not, and he's just going to have more unit strength than you. So, all right, let's start with Bart this time. What do you think?
So Ray's been playing this for a while, right? So he does relatively well with it. I know it's somewhat matchup dependent, but I get concerned about Jordan's got all these Forest Shamblers again, and we all know how we feel about short Forest Shambler hordes. So it's going to be a very big nerf fight in the middle, and I think the advantage is going to go to Ray because he's going to be able to get surges off. I don't think those hordes are going to be able to crack Ray's line, so I'm going to go with Ray.
Yeah.
All right, one for Ray.
I'm going Ray, but a little explanation. Again, 4 Shamblers, 4 hordes of them. There's nothing in this army that does damage. Wellfather does damage. That's about it. 4 Shamblers just don't. I still remember taking a horde into a flank one time. They're like, we got it. They don't do shit. They have mittens on and they're just kind of slapboxing people. And Ray knows how to play this list. Those Pegasi are basically worthless. Ray, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Ray's got bark skin in there too on those defense 2 zombies.
Totally necessary. Give them extra nerve.
He's got a couple. The zombie legions will do damage is the thing, and he's got 2 sources of what do you call it? The same thing the Wiltfather has, not Radiance of Life. The other one, the opposite.
Cloak of Death.
Damage shield.
On the
Cloak of Death.
Yeah.
That's it. He's got 2 of those.
Yeah.
The zombie troll horde will actually surgically remove units. And the Force of Nature, like the best thing they're bringing to this fight is probably the Hunters of the Wild regiment, which you don't hear often as being the good one. But the nerve is too low. It might do some damage and then it'll just get taken off. So that 10 unit strength advantage, like, Ray's army will struggle in some scenarios, but not in this scenario. This is what it wants.
Yep.
All right, so you are also going Ray, which means that as much as I would like to dissent, I am not going to vote against an undead list with 10 unit strength advantage in control. So this will be possibly our only clean sweep from the panel for the evening, but sorry, just can't do it this time. All right, so that's 4 for Ray on that one, and let's move now to table 14.
Oh, we're on time. For us.
Yeah, we're doing great. So this is going to be Eric Schaefer versus Dan Lloyd.
This was another one that came up on the randomizer. I was like, ooh.
This also is a really interesting matchup. So yeah, Eric's got his Empire of Dust that he's been playing a lot, and Dan is bringing his Forces of Nature, which he's also been playing a lot. I played against Dan's Forces of Nature list at Nerdhammer, and got thoroughly spanked by it.
Something is off with your list here. You must
I may have
pasted because he doesn't have 2 Shadow Hulks.
I was like, how does he have 2?
If he did,
he doesn't.
If he did,
that's a mistake.
That would be amazing.
I was about to pick him too.
No, I don't think he has. I think that Shadow Hulk and Void Lurker is a mistake from another list. So ignore those 2.
Dan's probably like, damn it! I thought I could get a couple extra.
Quickly going through his modeling cabinet looking for anything that can count as a Shadow Hulk and Void Lurker. But no, like the greater air elementals with a good amount of surge, a lot of sources of surge, are really sneaky and are really hard to keep out of your backfield. Like
I know
they've got the speed to just jump over you and spin around and get surged into your rear. And he's got a lot of other elementals as well. He's got earth elementals that are tough to pop in one go for some thick chaff. Fire elementals that deal out some pretty good damage. And he's got some light shooting with Naiad Heart Piercers. Like it's a good solid kind of combined arms list. And he's really good with maneuvering those greater air elementals and getting them into good spots to get flanks and rears. Over on the Empire Dust side, like it's an 11 drop, 19 unit strength list, so it's pretty elite. But it's got all the stuff that you expect to see in an Empire Dust list. It's got a bunch of mummies, it's got the Soul Snare, it's got Pappy, it's got the Isle of Shobik. So like it's tough and grindy. And also has a lot of good surge potential. So this is a game where like everybody gets like 2 movement phases every round, I think.
Yeah, it's like I surge into you. No, I surge into you. No, I surge into you. It's gonna be.
I'll see your surge and raise you another surge. So Bart, what do you think?
This is tough. I know both of these guys, so I know Eric's been playing his list for quite a while, and I've played Dan, not this particular list, but I've played against a similar air elemental nightmare. So I just don't know if it's enough. I can't remember. They don't hit very hard. The only thing that hits really hard, does it have Thunderous Charge? I can't remember. Do they give a Crushing
1, Thunder 1 on the air elemental?
So they added that. That's new, right? I think the Void Lurker is going to have to do all the work.
Yeah.
But if Eric can take out some of those air elementals, whether he tries to do some surging and it doesn't get it, and then he gets picked up, I don't know that he's got enough left over to take it. I'm going to go with Eric.
I think, I like both of these lists a lot for slightly different reasons, but like looking at Eric's list, it is super compact, 11 drops, 19 unit strength, and it's in control. So if he was up against, 33 or 31 unit strength, he'd have some problems, but he's up against 20 unit strength. And I think that's going to work to his advantage because this is an army that can defend itself against the surge that's coming at it and can take some units off in return. And on Dan's side, those 2 regiments of Naiad Heart Piercers might be good in some matchups, but it's not going to do much in this matchup. So I think Empire of Dust has the edge.
All right. That's 2 for Eric. What do you think, Mike?
Going Dan. I think both these armies do kind of a similar thing. They both are pretty tough, pretty resilient. They have some healing. They have some surge. I think the extra little bit of surge, the extra little bit of speed, and those greater air elementals, those are the real ticket. Having a nimble speed 10 surgeable unit is I mean, it brings me back to when I first started playing. You could fly over units after getting charged and then charge them in the rear. You remember all that.
To quote somebody I know, although I can't remember who, where do those casters have to be to get all these surges off?
You just need a flank, though. I'm not saying you need to surge. He doesn't have surge 26. I'm not telling you he's going to surge 14 inches. He just needs to stand there and go, okay, fly 10, nimble, get on a flank, and surge. Like, he doesn't need to be that far ahead. And he's got a bunch of tough stuff to hide behind. So I'm digging down. We'll see if this is the hill you want to die on, Greg. Let's go. And put money on it. Your teacher's salary. Go.
I think I'm also going to go with Dan because I think towards the end of the game he's probably going to be a little bit more maneuverable and able to get where he needs to be to score, even though he doesn't have the Void Lurker or the Shadowhawks. I also think the Avatar of the Green Lady can come in really handy in a scenario like this where you have a lot of high defense stuff that Eric is going to try to keep clustered together, and where she can just fly over and like throw a Cloak of Death on like 5 units at the same time they're getting flank charged by stuff that you're surging in. So yeah, I'm going to go with Dan. I'm sure it's going to be a good match. Again, this would be an excellent like streaming match candidate. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch. But I think Forces of Nature got a little edge there. So let's go on now to table 15. This is going to be Rob Allison versus Michael Gill. So this is Orcs versus Northern Alliance. We're looking at 14 drops on the Orc side versus 13 drops on the Northern Alliance side. But they're both 24 unit strength. Rob's Orc list has just sort of a little bit of everything. He's got some long axe regiments. He's got an axe horde. He's got a Reborn Legionaries troop, which I guess is a unit from Riftforge orcs that you can take in regular orcs. Yeah, he's got some Gore Riders. He's got some chariots. He's got some fight wagons. He's got some drums. He's got some mounted dudes. He's got some dudes on foot. He's got a Godspeaker. Again, kind of a little bit of everything. Survey of the orc list. And over on the Northern Alliance side, Michael's got some Ice Elemental hordes, which I don't know. He might be the only person that took Ice Elemental hordes this time. He's got Frostfang Cavalry, Lord on Frostfang, some Huskar regiments, and some Snow Foxes, and then some Ice Cannon, Ice Naiads. Kind of the standard stuff you expect to see. A little bit of everything for Northern Alliance as well. These are like 2 fairly straightforward armies in terms of what they want to do. And I feel like they both kind of want to do the same thing, walk across the table and punch you. So what do we think? Let's start with Greg.
So I did want to point out, Rob titled his list
Free Win.
Free Win. So
he's playing orcs.
It makes it sound like he's not coming in with a lot of confidence. And I think I can see why. Like, it's a collection of units. They don't necessarily mesh with each other. But that being said, like, there is still some decent threat potential in this list. But I think the Northern Alliance is going to have the advantage. They're pretty close on drops and unit strength, but there is a little bit of scout in the Northern Alliance list to get some early board control. There's a little bit of surge. There's a shooting phase that can do some damage. And I think his list is just a little more fine-tuned. And so because the matchup is pretty even, the Northern Alliance are going to be able to remove more pieces than the Orcs. And I'm going to vote Northern Alliance.
All right. So that is one for Michael. Art.
Yeah, I don't think that Rob is coming into this with a lot of confidence. I know he sort of picked this. I saw that this army is beautiful. I've seen it in pictures. I haven't seen it on the table. So I think Rob is kind of anxious to get it moving and rolling, but I don't know that he's rolling in with a lot of confidence. I just think the Northern Alliance seems a little bit more focused. So I'm going to go with Michael on this one.
All right, Mike.
Greg, who'd you pick?
I picked Michael.
Oh, damn it. I'm picking Michael too. Rob's a good player, but he's playing that army because he had it painted. It looks nice. He wants to play it. I respect that. He's playing something that's different. Not a lot of people do, and it's just fun. But I don't know Michael, obviously. But first off, great name. Second off, his army choices, unit choices look to be like he knows what he's doing. He doesn't have any, ass backwards selection. So I think he's going to be a decent player. And unfortunately, the Orc stack versus the North Alliance stack is just not in the best interest of the Orcs. So Michael Gill, it is. Sorry, Rob, love you, but free win.
Oh man! So now that puts me
no
in
one
the
picked him
position.
to tie. Rob ties a lot. He does get a lot of draws.
That is
He does
true.
get a lot of draws.
That's actually
I've
true.
only played Rob once, and it was a draw. So.
I drew him last time I played him. So,
I'm changing my vote to a draw right now.
dude, there you go. That's
legit. That's
they
legit.
are close on drops. They're equal unit strength. This is about the best time to do it. Yeah.
All right, you're voting draw.
Draw.
And I tip my cap to you, my cap to you for doing so, because now I can vote Michael guilt free.
Gill,
Not a clean sweep.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm also going to go for Northern Alliance. Rob, love you. Want to see the painted army.
there you go. It'll look good.
It'll look great. I 100% respect taking an army because it looks good. All right, so table 16 is going to be Justin Berg versus Mike Ireland. That's going to be Salamanders versus Ratkin. 13 drops on the Salamander side at 19 unit strength and 16 drops on the Ratkin side with 21 unit strength. Looking over the Salamander list, you got triple Tyrant Hordes, double Rhinosaur Cav regiments, 2 Greater Fire Elementals, a Phoenix and Mage Priest with some Surge, Artackle, and Rakawas, the Pale Rider, which I think is sort of like a Carnosaur. And then over on the Ratkin side, you got triple Shock Troop Hordes, triple Clawshot regiments, some Hackpaws, 3-weapon team, Mutant Rat Fiend, a Tangle, and some characters. I played Mike Ireland at Crossroads, and he's a really solid player. I've watched Justin play a couple times on stream, also a solid player. So let's kick it over to Greg. What do you think?
I like both of these lists. I think the Ratkin having the extra drops and a really solid shooting phase is going to give it the advantage it needs here. Tyrant Hordes are scary, but they do have a glaring weakness with the lower defense and nerve, and the Ratkin can exploit that. And if you take those off, there isn't much left to deal with that number of units and the high unit strength and nerve that the shock troops are going to have. And the Mutant Rat Fiend is just an incredible Titan that every army I play is jealous it doesn't have a Titan with those rules. So it's hard to vote against it.
All right. Mike.
Yeah, sorry, Salamanders players, but I still think y'all suck. Not you personally, but the army. This is Tyrant Hordes versus Shock Troop Hordes. That's basically how I see it. Plague Pots and Better Nerve versus not. Shock Troops win, plus everything else involved. You just go 1-for-1 across the board, and Rat can just have the advantage. Again, don't know Justin Berg. Respect if you say he's pretty good, Mike, but I know Mike Ireland's a really, really tight player. He has a lot of gaming background. I'll hand it to him.
Fair enough. Bart.
Yeah, no, I know Mike. I played this list a few times, so he really does know what he's doing. I know Justin also knows what he's doing, but last time I think he was playing Ogres at Crossroads, so he made a switch in armies. But Mike also plays Cat quite often, I believe, and she plays Salamander, so I think Mike's got some experience with fighting Salamanders. I just think Mike is going to take this one. And I got to stay within club too. So
makes sense. All right, then I'm voting for Justin. Justin, you got to pull this one out for me, man. You got to do it. You got to smash some rats for me. All right, let's go into table 17. This is Brad Dufresne versus Cat Warrior. So this is another one of our 6 ogre lists versus Salamanders, which is also kind of a popular army. So it's 12 drops on the ogre side, a little bit lean there, 22 unit strength. And 15 drops on the Salamander side, coming at 21 unit strength. Ogre list is triple Siegebreaker Hordes, the big deal. A Sergeant with, again, that heavy crossbow. Nom Nom, which you see pretty standard. And some Chariots. Over on the Salamander side, Got that Greater Fire Elemental. Got some Kilodon, some Clan Lords mounted, which I think are really good units. The Whispering Scales formation with Salamander Primed and a Battle Captain. Not sure what that
does.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
It's going to surprise
Scout,
everyone.
Stealthy, Pathfinder, Elite.
And they
It's
still live on floors and do
a bunch of things.
So just everything. So and a Tyrant's Horde, Brew of Sharpness, and a Rhinosaur Calf Horde with Strider. So Greg, what do you think here?
So I want to give a little shout out to Brad for taking Skirmisher boots on a Warrior Chariots troop. I think that's awesome. That's the right unit for that item to give them nimble for only 10 points. Earlier in the cast,
does that become a square?
Yeah. Earlier in the cast, I mentioned a list that I liked with 3 hordes of Siege Breakers. This also has 3 hordes of Siege Breakers, but it doesn't have the chaff to support it, and it doesn't have the waiver mitigation items. So it makes me less confident in its ability to deliver the damage it needs to deliver. Whereas I think the Salamanders, with the extra 3 drops and a little bit more sort of variety of threats that it's bringing, is going to come out on top. I think it's going to be hard for the Ogres to deal with all of the things the Salamanders are putting down on the table.
All right. Mike.
Salamanders.
Wow, that's insightful.
Yeah.
Yeah, insightful.
What else? Come on. You have this formation of all these units that's supposed to make them elite. They all still hit on 4s with 12 attacks. They're not doing anything. They're just, I'm sorry, Salamanders just aren't good. They still aren't good. They keep trying and they fail over and over and over again. I do want to point out there's another Boomer Chariot troop. Thanks for 12 inches of skirmish or stealthy. I was reading Skirmisher boots. Brad.
There. You go with Brad? Okay.
Because you can't do salamanders, huh?
I can't. I'm sorry. Why am I such a bad guy for saying an army list?
I'm just stating the facts. Stating facts. Shooting straight.
Facts. My opinions are always right. That's all.
What are you thinking, Bart?
So Kat's been playing this for a while. So she's been playing salamanders. I really love the 3 clan lords. It's a fun thing when those things are running around, getting in the way, chipping wounds. Adding in those.
There is a host shadow beast in the mix too.
Yeah, so I think those are really interesting to me. If she can get those tyrant hordes delivered, or the Rhinosaur cavalry horde delivered, which she's able to do with some of the things, some of the tools she has, I think I'm picking Kat because of clubs, obviously, but I think she's got a good opportunity to.
So is it because of clubs or is it not?
No, I think she's going to win, but I'm going to also stay within the club. So
you shouldn't have to stay within the club if you're picking it because she won. Just saying.
I suppose fair. That's fair. Semantics, but that's fair.
I was right.
I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go Salamanders. I think I'm gonna go Salamanders this time.
Oh, so I'm the dissenter now.
You're the dissenter this time.
Wild Stallion.
For reasons.
So that's going to bring us to table 18, where we got Adam Ortel versus Kyle Motley. So this is a Ratkin Slaves. You read that right, Ratkin Slaves versus Northern Alliance matchup. They're both at 13 drops and 24 unit strength, unless I copy and pasted the wrong thing again. In this Ratkin Slave list, we've got the lowest of the low formation with the Slave Warriors, regiments and hordes, and a Taskmaster on Chariot, and they all got the Last Breath. You got some more Slave Warriors with Last Breath. He's got some Nightmare Hordes, some Tunnel Runner regiments, and the Slave Death Engine Impaler. And he's also got that Gore Impaler thing that can actually overrun into other units. We'll see if he can manage to use that. Then over on the Northern Alliance side, you got your double Huskar regiments. You got 2 Ice Elemental hordes, 2 Lords on Frostfang, which are really good. An Icekin Hunter's troop, an Ice Naiad horde, some Snow Foxes, but no Frostfang Cav. Interesting. Bart, what do you think?
All right, so Adam's. No, he can't go. I'm going to go first. So
okay,
Adam again is clubmate, but I'm not saying that I'm picking him because of that. But this list is terrifying to me. Adam has played this a ton online, like a ton. But he's still building this list this week. I think he's gluing it together now. I'm not sure. He mentioned popsicle sticks, so I'm not exactly sure how it's going to come together. So he's busily getting this thing done. But this list is terrifying. Everything explodes, and then he really knows how to use these chariots in such a way that you're going to just be like, what just happened to me? So I'm picking Adam only because I played against this list a lot. I know that Adam has been playing it a lot. He hasn't been at a tournament in a while. But if he can sort of translate that back to a table, this could be a terrifying list to play against.
All right. So I'll jump in now. So at one point, Alex was trying to build a Raccoon Slaves list because everybody decided it was the worst thing ever. And we put together a list. And I tried to play it against a Varangur list of mine. And we decided that Varangur had no human possible way to defeat a Raccoon Slave Last Breath army. Literally. I didn't give a shit. Like, I put it on the board and I said, I literally didn't want to play it. And we played it for like 3 turns. I was like, yep, but we played it again. 3 turns. It's pointless. Nobody really appreciates how good that Last Breath stuff is. The only criticism I have, the formation does what it's supposed to, in that it's that pop-in thing. The hordes are the key because they still do wounds to defense 5
of course.
Elite units. They go 3, take a hit, 3, take a hit, die, and 3. So then you have your elite units coming out with 8, 9 wounds, and it takes nothing to clean them up. So Adam's on, I think, the right track. I think being that there's so many regiments, part of which the formation kind of forces, not his fault. Might not be quite as good as I would anticipate, but everything he's got as a backup with the Nightmares is great. The Chariots is great. That the formation is really interesting in being able to make them implode when you want. It's fun. The problem is that Kyle's army, anything that does damage with the Huskarls, Lords and Frostfang in particular, Ice Elementals, they're going to get pinged to death by this annoying little shitty slave rats. Yeah. It's so
I totally agree.
It's so frustrating. So I'm going with Adam. I think his list is fun. It's great. Again, maybe a little bit of a lack of performance losing the hordes. I think that's kind of the key. But I think it's a great list. And in Northern Alliance, it's a tough matchup. I mean, even though it's not a super elite Northern Alliance, I think it's tough for him because all this good stuff's going to have trouble. So,
yep.
There we go.
All right, Greg.
Yeah, I think Mike summed it up pretty well. I think the Raccoon Slave list is going to have some weaknesses. And there is a bit of a shooting phase to this Northern Alliance list, but not enough to really stop what's going to happen. He's got to engage it. And like Mike said, once you start to do that, bad things happen to you. So I'm going with Adam.
All right, then I guess I'll vote Kyle just to dissent. Although we'll see what happens. I think that Ice Queen is going to have a really busy day with putting that heal 5 to work. Over on the northern line side.
Not enough. That's one attack from a shitty unit.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Adam is a very precise player, so when he's playing this on UB, he's terrifying. If he can translate that to the table, it's going to be a tough.
It is a different game. That is one thing I will say. A lot of times people go, "Oh, they've been playing tons of UB." That's not a guarantee. You know, that's still kind of a video game. It's different when you're on the table.
Fair. All right, on table 19, coming down to the last few tables here.
This is a fun one.
Mark Howard versus Mike Zettelmeyer playing a whole different kind of game from everybody else.
Yeah.
So this is an Undead versus Ogre. So these are the two most prominent armies at the event matched up against each other. This is a 15-drop, 30-unit strength Undead list versus an 18-drop, 27-unit strength Ogre list. So over on the Undead side, you got 4 Zombie Legions and the Shambling Bite formation, which adds another 2, which brings you to 6 Zombie Legions. There's also a couple of Burrowing Worms, a bunch of Necromancers, and a Zombie Troll Horde with sharpness that can, get railgunned across the table into the flank of whatever you want it to with all the surge you got in the list. And then over on the on the Ogre side, Mike Zettelmeyer is bringing 9 warrior regiments, and that's like the whole list.
Which unlocks 9 heroes.
Which unlocks 9 heroes.
Yeah.
So then he takes 9 heroes. He takes a couple of warlocks. He takes Nom Nom. He takes 3 Berserker Bullies, which are really good, and 3 Sergeants mounted on chariots.
No crossbow on the sergeants, though.
No crossbow on the sergeants.
They're on chariots, though, aren't they? I think they're all.
You
on
can
chariots.
take the crossbow on chariot. You can.
You can?
But...
Oh,
yeah,
jeez.
you can.
Oh, yeah.
But
these things are all on chariots. So
No, he keeps him defense 5.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's a better play.
That's probably better because they're thick chaff that way. And they've got the Trickster's Wand and the Torque of Dissonance. So Undead don't want to see magic defense. And Mike's brought a pretty good amount of it. So what do you guys think? Let's start with Greg.
So I think Mike's list is nasty. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. One might say complaining about it for what it's done on UB. And it just warms my heart that he's faced up against this Undead list. I mean, it's similar to Ray's. I think Ray's is a little bit better in terms of the support pieces he took. But the Ogres... he's got a ton of units and they can do some damage, but their nerve is low and a zombie legion could just run into one of those and kill it or waver it and render it ineffective. I think it's going to be really hard for Mike to do enough and keep enough things alive for him to win a game like Control. If it wasn't Control, I'd be more confident in the Ogres, but I think the Undead have it. And I think there are very few matchups Mike's going to see across the weekend that he doesn't like, but this might be one of them.
So you're going Undead.
I'm going Undead.
All right. Mike.
So it comes down to me to this Mark Howard fella. It looks to me like he might have just seen Ray Wyatt's list one day and goes, I want to play that. And then he's playing it. So I don't know how good he is with it. I don't know if he knows how it plays, if he is an expert with it versus Zed, who is an absolute machine when it comes to getting his plays in and his games in. And I talked about translating UB to the tabletop. If anybody can do it, it's Zed, because he's a fucking annoying rocket scientist, engineer guy. That's what they do.
literally,
Particular, literally. Yeah, I know. Literally, he's somebody that's just as precise on the tabletop as he is on UP. So he knows how to play it. I'm going Zed. I mean, it is a tougher matchup than most things he wants to play with, but I'm just going to assume that Mark Howard isn't a complete veteran with this army, but Zed is. So I'm going Zed.
All right, Bart.
So I played both of these guys, and I played Mike online, and he obviously smashed me, and I played Mark at Nerdhammer, and I think he was still painting the army while we were playing. So I think he's relatively new with the army itself, but when it went back in Nerdhammer days, so I don't know how much. I know that he does a lot of gaming locally with his group, so if he's using this list and getting much better with it, then he's got a slight chance. But the thing with Mike is everything just no matter what you hit, sometimes coming at you from another angle. The chariots are going to come at you. They're going to hit you in the flank. He's going to drain life you as he's coming forward. So I don't know how effective Mark's unit strength is going to be. And if somehow Mike starts getting around or gets a flank, I don't know how he's going to get around. If he gets a flank or two and things start disappearing, then it's going to be hard. So I'm going to go Mike, only just because it's Mike. But it is a tougher matchup than one would think.
Yep. I think Keith Randall puts in a pretty solid vote here. That you can see this being a tie, because I also think that the Ogres, we're playing Control. The Ogres can get to the line before the Undead can get to the line, and then just nobody moves the whole game. So I think there's going to be a question of who punches through a flank while holding the rest of the table to get one more sector.
But the Ogres can spread out more, though.
Yeah, they can.
Mike can just go put a regiment on either flank and just go, I don't care about you guys, and still compete in the middle.
Exactly.
Hold two table corners. I mean, Mike's army, everybody looks at it and goes, oh, great, the core of your army is 9 regiments of warriors. No, it's not. it's 9 characters
the heroes
that are really fucking good. Do lots of damage. Those bullies are absolute nightmare. The sergeants on chariots you got nimble flying around. You're getting to get flanks. That army it's so unsuspecting. If you don't know what it does, it will catch you. every time.
Yeah, I think so. And here's the other thing is that they look close on drops, but 5 of Mark's drops don't score, and all of Mike's do. So Mike can hold his back line with like 1 or 2 unit strength, whereas Mark doesn't have a lot of spare unit strength to put anywhere to hold stuff. He's got to move it all around. I think I'm gonna go with Zed. As much as I hate voting against Undead in favor of Ogres, I've also learned through experience that voting against Mike Zettelmeyer is unwise. So
odds are against you, probably 85% of the time.
Most of the time, like dude literally works for NASA. I'm just gonna go.
He should be unemployed like you.
We call it fun employed. Table 20 is Ed Fisk versus Alan Boehner. This is the one we've been waiting for. Everyone who's been watching this whole time, this is the matchup we were waiting to get to towards the bottom.
This is the matchup I like to call the 2 armies I never want to face.
Yeah, they can go fucking
facing each other.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad these guys are playing each other with these lists.
Yeah.
I love both of you guys, but I'm glad you found each other. It's one of those, like, it's so nice that they found each other, right?
Can they just play 5 games against each other so nobody else has to deal with them?
Oh, man. So this is a League of Rordia versus Twilight Kin matchup. 15 drops for League of Rordia with 20 unit strength. Coming up against 13 drops and 21 unit strength on Twilight Kin side. On the League of Rordia side, there are 4 hordes of honor guard, 3 cannons, and then a bunch of wizards that shoot you in a battle shrine. And then on the Twilight Kin side, it's 5 Glade Stalker regiments, 2 troops, and 3 regiments, a couple of units of Chronebound Abyssal Horsemen, which are really good. A couple of Mind Screeches, Mikael and Lathiel. It's nasty. This is like the new Cock 22 hotness Twilight Kin list. So yeah, what do you think? Let's start with Mike.
Oh God, they're both great players. Those cannons are a little scary if I'm Alan, but he needs shooting lanes, so he's going to take it to the face. Terrain's going to be huge. I'm really curious how that goes. I know Alan knows how to use terrain to his advantage. I don't know. I'm not saying Ed doesn't, but I just haven't experienced it with Ed. I know Ed's a good player, smart guy, super smart guy. So he'll probably have the right idea. This is such a crazy matchup. I don't want to say it because I hate this Glade Stalker spam meta. But I do think Alan's gonna win. I don't want him to. Alan, you know I love you, bro. But I don't want him to, but I think he's going to. So there's my pick.
All right.
I mentioned Dead of Winter a couple weeks back. The armies that came first and second were Twilight Kin armies that were very similar to this one. And between them, only one game was lost, and that was when they played each other. So
I've not heard that. That's amazing.
If you're wondering why so many, especially so many Northeast players brought the anti-shooting defense, it was because of this experience. Third place was Sylvankin at that GT. Shudders. So as much as I love isn't the right word. As much as I respect that Ed's list is very good, and I respect him as a player, I have to go with my gut that this Twilight Kin is just broken, and it's going to take the win.
They done fucked up.
You done fucked up, AA round. All right. Mark.
There it is.
All right, so I'm just going to pick the Twilight Kin, but I'm not going to talk about their list. I think it's a better list. What I am going to say though is, I have the Mid-Atlantic Irregulars as the odds-on favorite for the Cup. So this could have very big implications on that overall number. I think this is one of those kind of statement games for a club to set some. If one of the clubs want to take a step up, I think this is going to be one of those games that might create some separation. So the Cup, I think, is on the line in this game here.
Yeah. So back in Warhammer, I played Dark Elves and Empire. So it's like, which of my two previous armies do I want to go with here? Everybody else went Twilight Kin. This is going to be a tough match, but I think Honor Guard Hordes with Indomitable Will are going to make it across the table. They got Pathfinder
with their honor intact.
With their honor intact, so they might get wavered by shooting. And get Cronebound Horse, but he's got a couple of mounted barons he can throw in the way, and a night troop he can throw in the way, and a battle shrine of wizards throwing lightning. Yeah, I think I'm feeling good about Ed's chances to go first in this match, and so I'm going to say that I'm going to dissent and say that.
You're literally dice rolling it
because it's another one where terrain is going to come into play. So how they set the table up is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to say I think Ed wins the coin flip to go first, and will therefore win. There we go. Expert commentary. Moving on. Also, no clean sweeps other than us thinking Ray Wine's going to win. So table 21 is Chris Coyle versus Nick Scabetta. This is Ratkin versus Rift Forged Orcs. Another one of the new armies from most recent Clash of Kings. Both at 14 drops. 22 unit strength for Ratkin versus 23 for Orcs. Looking over the Ratkin list, he's got a couple of shock troop hordes with plague pots like you do. Some tunnel runners, some weapon team, a mutant rat fiend, a couple of brood mothers, the Tangle and the demon spawn. And and the Spear Warrior sword, which might come in here. Oh no, there's probably nothing on the other side that cares. On the Rift Forged Orc side, like most of the stuff
flyers.
is new. There's flyers. That's a good point. Yep. He does have some flyers over there, but the Emberox doesn't fly, right? It's just a giant.
That's a shooting, right? A shooting monster.
They're just like a little add-ons, basically.
Okay. Yep. He's got the Stormcaller. He's got the double Manticore Rider dudes. Okay, yeah. So that's just don't send those into the horde. He's got a couple of Hellstriker hordes. He's got a horde of Riftforge legionaries with elite. It'll definitely put out some hurt if it runs into you. All right. Kind of a newer list. It'll be interesting to see what it does. Greg?
Yeah. Nick played at Dead of Winter with this list. Did very well. It's a good list. He's a good player. I don't know Chris, but I do know Ratkin, and they do bad things to me when I play them. And this is checking all of the boxes of what messes me up. The only thing it doesn't have is claw shots. But I think it has enough ranged attacks to cause some problems. Skudkuzaluk, or however you say his name, is always a big factor in these games. Plague pots on 3 hordes. Yeah, I think it can put out some damage. It can absorb charges, and it can punish you in return. So as much as I want to vote for Nick because I like him and his list, I have to vote for Ratkin.
All right. Mike?
Don't know a ton about Rift Forge. Alex played them a little bit. I think they suck, but it seems weird to have triple Radiance of Life in a list, and a Ratkin list that's only 14 drops at that. No good reason. 2 Stormbringers on Manticores is good, along with the 2 hordes versus 1 flyer on the other side. So I'm going to go with the 4 flyer army and go Schaefer just because of that.
All right.
There you go.
Art.
So Chris Coyle is actually my dark horse. He's played a couple. I know he's played a couple one-day events where he's done very, very well. I think he's been playing these since he's been playing Kings of War, and it's a beautiful painted army as well. So
you didn't tell me that. That's not on here. I can't. I'm gonna
pick Chris because it's also a club. So, but I like the Rift Forge orcs. I mean, I'm an orc player at heart. I just can't find an orc list that I like. I can't find any list that I like.
Do you want to talk about your lists here?
You know what? This is about me. Can we talk about me for the moment? Anyway,
yeah.
No, I've never made a list that you like, Mike. I know
it's true.
So I'm going to pick Chris, but I like Nick's I like Nick's Rift Forge Orcs list. I just don't know what it does yet. I just really don't. And there's no healing in it. Just everything's going to hit hard. So I don't know what it's going to do. But I'm going to pick Chris because I think he's going to really play his army well.
All right. I'm going to flip around and go the other way. I'm going to pick Nick, but I like Chris's Ratkin list.
Neato.
There you go.
There we go. All right. So table 22.
Last table.
This is the last table. So this is Justin Lingle versus Jordan Fox. Ogre on ogre violence. You know it had to happen eventually with so many ogres running around. Eventually they got to bump into each other. They're dead even on unit strength at 22. 13 drops for Justin versus 11 for Jordan. Looking over the list. So, there's a couple of big differences that jump out. One has a warrior legion, and the other has some chariots. They both got Namagarok. Actually, no, they both have some chariots because Jordan's got the Hell on Wheels formation in addition to the warrior legion. And then over on the other side, you've got Justin's got 2 Siegebreaker hordes versus the 1 on Jordan's side. And he's got Kuzlo and Madfall, which is a difference. They both got a Hunter horde. I don't know much about Ogre Mirror matches. Let's start with Mike.
All right. Justin Lingo's going to clock out, and I'm picking Jordan Fox. Anecdotal. Lego at Crossroads. We had breakfast together. Not just him and I. It wasn't that romantic. But he, on day 1, clocked out in every game. And then day 2, I think 2 out of 3 at least. Day 2, knowing that he was going to clocked out in both games. He clocked out, I think, 4 out of 5 games at Crossroad. He just cannot get outside of himself. And I think the mirror matchup is just going to cause him to have a fucking conniption, and he'll clock out and then lose because of it. He'll be winning, and then he'll lose because he's going to clock out. So I'm going Jordan Fox, even though I know nothing about him. Justin, if you just get your shit together, you'll be fine and win. But
this is where we insert the Rocky-style training montage of Justin playing on a clock.
Like, hit the clock.
Yeah. I like Justin in this matchup without knowing either of them in terms of their play style, having not played either of these gentlemen. Kuzlo and Madfall is my favorite hero in the game, and he's got it, which gives him an advantage right off the bat. But the ability to put, because he's got the big deal, his enemy units at -3 to their nerve before you even roll dice is pretty significant. On Jordan's side, he's got Grakagamak, who is the only ogre player to take it. You don't see him too much these days, but I think Grakagamak loves to fight ogres. So that's pretty good, but I don't like the other choices in the list enough to offset that. So I think Justin's match is a little bit better.
What in Justin's list is a good candidate to take on the Warrior Legion? Like, does he have a good matchup here with any of his stuff?
The big deal.
I think Justin has more drops and doesn't need to fight the Warrior Legion until he's cleared some other things, and then he can gang up on it.
Yeah, Warrior Legions look scary on paper. They just never really function well. They get flanked every fucking time.
Yeah, and he downgraded them to the defense 4, which makes them even easier to take out, which I think was a mistake on Jordan's part.
I agree. Good point. Wait, can I change? No, Lego's going to clock out. It's fine.
With 36 attacks, you don't need the extra crushing. You have Bane Chant from Namagarok.
24 hits and crush 1.
Yeah, 24 hits.
He needs 16 wounds against the defense 5. I'm sorry, 12 math, but Bane Chant 16.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or you could give him Vicious with Namagarok.
Yeah. So you're going for...
I'm going for Justin. I do want to say these 2 ogre armies with the warrior legions really want to fight the zombie legion spam lists.
Yeah.
They do.
24 hits and 21 wounds.
Oh yeah.
Without
it. Yeah. What do you think, Bart?
Yeah, I think I look at Jordan's list, and it's how I start writing a list. It's like, ooh, I want one of those. Ooh, I want one of those. Ooh, I want one of those too. And then it's terrible, right? It's not. I'm not saying this is a terrible list, but I just don't think it works well together. So I don't know Jordan, obviously, but I think the combination of the big deal and Kozlo is there for a reason. So I think Justin is going to be able to utilize that to his advantage and start picking this other ogre list apart. So I'm going to go with Justin.
Okay. All right. So here we are. The last table, last pick. I'm going to say that I think Mike Austin is correct and that Lingle is going to clock out. However, I think that control is one of those scenarios where you can clock out and still win. So I think that Justin is going to manage to win and clock out. That's my
That's
bold
specific.
prediction.
That's like a bonus point if it happens.
It's very specific.
Yeah.
That's right. This is
Can
how I'm going to
somebody
win
make
this.
sure to watch and make sure we know if he clocked out or not? Because I really want to know.
All right, so that is the last table. So now let's go through and pick you guys' brain to see if there's anything that stood out particularly. If anybody wants to make some bold predictions about like who they think might win it all, a list that might be a dark horse that's gonna podium that nobody expects, and if anybody's got a prediction for who's gonna win best club.
I think I said Chris is my dark horse. Chris Coyle, I think he's my dark horse to win. Not to win, but I think he's got an opportunity. If he gets good matchups, he could probably move up the tables farther than one might expect. Club, I'm putting my money on the Mid-Atlantic Irregulars right now. So they're pretty solid with Jake, Steve Forster, Ed, and Mike Zettelmeyer. No, they didn't get Mike. Who'd they get? Did they get Mike? No, they didn't get Mike. Who'd they get?
We were trying to get Mike.
You were trying to get Mike, yeah.
He didn't want to play with us. Do you have a prediction for who you think might take first place?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't have one.
That's fair. Greg, would you like to make any bold predictions?
I do. I want to point out that Justin is in the chat, and he said he clocked out and still won 3 games at Crossroads. So
Sorry,
he might be onto something. He might be onto something.
You're my boy. Do it.
All right. In terms of club, I have to go with or without the unplugged gamers, adding them in. I have to go with the aristocrats. So
Do they have a full team yet?
We don't have 4.
Yeah, that is a bold prediction. That's right.
If I was there, it's a shoe-in, but sorry, guys.
We're gonna win without qualifying. That's right.
You're gonna win because you're gonna get the unplugged gamers, and that goes along with my dark horse, which is Mike Rossi. He'll swear up and down that it won't happen. He'll be in disbelief as he comes with a top 5 finish. But that dwarf army is going to cause problems for some people. In terms of who I think is going to take it, based on lived experience, I have to go with Alan and the Twilight Kin nonsense. I think.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I can't now, but that was.
I think there are plenty of people who brought some things in their lists to try and defend against it, and I think they might find that those things aren't good enough, and then they're wasting points in other matchups.
I think there's things. You talk to anybody that wins a tournament, and there's always some semblance of luck and matchup.
Of course,
dependent, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So, Alan very well could win it, but if he hits an army like, I hate to say it because I made it, but like
you're going to say Alex. You're going to say Alex.
No, seriously, though. I mean, it really is. I mean, we've done the talks with the Theory Hammer on it tons, and it really has a good shot against that. And then Zed, right? Zed's army is extremely powerful, and he's going to be in top tables in the last 2 rounds, without a doubt. He has fared very well against that Glade Stalker style army. He tried and true. So there's going to be a lot of matchup dependent stuff. So I don't think you can reliably say this is going to be the win.
I think what has leaned me more towards Alan though is I predicted both Alex and Zed to lose their round 1, and so they'll never play. Alan will just run away with it.
I don't know. I will say, here's something to be, cognizant of is we're getting into a lot more rock, paper, scissors in this than we have historically in Kings of War, right?
For sure.
This is not a conversation we've had before, but I'll go out on a limb and say, I was going to say Beaner. But let's throw some fucking bullshit out here. Who am I going to pick? I'll pick Zed. You know what? Fuck it. Zed deserves it. His army is counter to a lot of things. Most people don't know how to deal with it. So I'm going to go Zed as my top pick. Club, okay. I'm picking Aristocrats because fuck you guys. Even though we can't win, I'm picking us.
One of the plugged gamers.
Yeah, I thought of one thing. Have we seen the death of the standard bearer loot? I think I saw one of them in all of the lists. I don't know if there's a lot of them.
I would have it. I'm just saying that. I would lose horribly, but I would have it.
I will say John Vanasse has committed the sin. He took the standard bearer with no loot and no item at all.
Idiot.
Just as a naked standard bearer.
All right, Mike. Do you have a dark horse pick? Somebody that you think will podium that people don't see coming?
Jeez, that is a tough pick. No, I can't. I mean, nobody would see Mike Rossi podium, so maybe I could say him. But no, honestly, I mean, I don't want to say dark horse because this kind of undermines the guy. But Steve Forster is a guy that doesn't make it out to a lot of 2 days. He does lots of 1 days. He's a good family man, takes good care of I think his 3 kids. He's a local to like the Northern Maryland region. Really, really good player. I don't think anybody would ever put him on a podium. I would not be surprised. So if I'm going to pick a dark horse, Forster. It's a good army. He's a good player. He's going to come against people that are going to go, he's not one of those guys that I've seen win GTs or in the top 5 of GTs. So they're going to not really give him the respect he deserves. And he's going to wreck some people. I really think so. So there's my dark horse, Forster.
Interesting. Cool. All right. So for me, I think I'm going to say dark horse to podium. I'm going to say Dan Lloyd. I think that air elemental list
yeah, it's not really a dark horse, Mike.
Is it? Is that not dark enough?
I don't think so.
Come on, give Ray a vote.
Oh, Ray.
Well, no, I think Ray's going to win the whole thing.
Sorry,
so, here's what I think. I think Boehner and Griff are going to play each other in round 4 and knock each other out.
Oh, that's juicy.
And lose the
neither
cup.
of them will win.
And lose the cup because of it.
Because I think I've been told that's the round when Nerdhammer guys end up playing each other and knock each other out. So I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I would have said Zed to win the whole thing, but Mike already said Zed. So fine, I'm going to bump it around, and I'm going to say Dan Lloyd to win, since that's not a dark horsey enough dark horse.
He's one
for you guys. I'll say that, and then for dark horse, I'm going to go with Anthony, the green lady. Just like all cabin flying hammers pounding on shit. Yeah. I'm going to go with that, man.
If he gets the right matchups, his first matchup is tough, but if he gets good matchups after that, he could come in like a draw.
So I think
and then just go.
I think he's going to submarine and end up on the podium. And then for clubs, I got to go with unplug the Kratz because why not?
You all are voting for a club that doesn't exist right now.
See, because now it has to exist. We're incepting
We're willing it into existence. Yeah,
we're willing this club. You are clearly.
I'll talk with the CEO, but this must be rules that I'm making right now.
I'm going to throw this out here.
I think you should send some emails about it, Bart.
It's got to be a real club if everybody's voting for it, right? Like with the smoke.
I apologize for the over communication, but I have been to tournaments where there was under communicated, so I just wanted to be sure that y'all know what's happening. And as soon as tomorrow I'm going to send out all the links so that you guys can start logging into the system, so you're going to get more emails. You're welcome.
Unsubscribe.
All right, so that is going to bring us to the end of our little broadcast here this evening. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope everybody that's planning on coming to this event is really excited. I'm excited to come and play and see all these folks that I don't know. Like the Mid-Atlantic has just blown up over the pandemic, and I love that like a first-time event can pull 40 plus people. That's amazing. Bart, you guys have done a great job so far planning and organizing and communicating it. So I'm
Thank you,
excited
Mike.
to come. I'm excited to come watch you guys pull this thing off. I think we're gonna have a great time. There was one thing that you were mentioning though, and that is that there's water on site, but no disposable cups.
Oh yeah.
So maybe if you've got a reusable travel mug or something like that, that you could bring with you to
thank you, Mike. I'll send out an email to
before?
everybody about that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
The
No problem.
Marcelo's building is an environmental. He's an environmental company, so plastic is a no-no. So he does have
How
a lot
about
of
styrofoam?
glasses.
Can I do styrofoam?
You can bring that, and we'll see how long you last there, Mike.
I'm going to show up just to bring styrofoam in droves.
But yeah, we're looking forward to having everybody in a couple days. It's pretty exciting.
2 comments. If Alex Chavez wins this tournament, it's because of me, and I'm taking full credit. And number 2.
Now, if he gets hungover and can't play Sunday, is that your fault also?
No. He's at his peak when he's hungover. Get him fucked up. That's his peak. He can't play sober. He's like that other guy that I respected earlier that said he was going to be fucked up. And then if we can all shout out to Ukraine right now and all that political stuff. So.
Cool.
Sorry. All right.
Anything else? No? All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us for this special broadcast Dash 28 Live, bringing you the matchup cast for this weekend's Pilgrimage GT. Coming up in the next couple of weeks, we are going to have some of the final round matches from Call to Arms. We're looking at trying to schedule out some of the top tables, so keep your eyes open for that. Make sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube. You get some notifications when those matches get scheduled, or watch out on the Fanatics and Universal Battle groups in Facebook where I post those things. Otherwise, until next time, I'm your host, Mike Atkins, saying you stay safe out there. And thanks to Bart and Greg and Mike Austin for hanging out and doing this. It's always nice to hang out and talk to you guys. And thanks everybody home for watching. And we will see you next time on Dash 28 Live. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks.
Y'all.
See ya. Thanks, everyone. Bye.